He made threes. He made the right decisions. He was under control the entire game, and that's the kind of effort we're going to need out of him tomorrow night. Since we've been in league play, we're sitting here at 6-3 in the American Conference, still very much in control of our own fate. And our team has gotten much more efficient offensively. We're shooting it better. We're distributing it better. Turnovers have been an issue for us a little bit, more so in league play than non-league play, and that cannot be the case tomorrow. FAU is too dynamic on both sides of the ball. We cannot give them extra possessions by us being inefficient with the ball.
Is this the best basketball you've seen Butter Johnson play?
Yeah, I think he's really, coming into his own about midway through his sophomore season. He's a shot maker. He's confident. We're going to him, and he has really been delivering.
All right, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Bartow Arena, UAB, Florida Atlantic, nationally ranked. FAU, huge game in the American Conference for UAB as FAU is tied for the conference lead with South Florida. I will point out South Florida's only loss in conference coaches to who?
Yeah, we're the only one that beat them, and they're set up, beautifully. I don't know if we've talked about this, but in our league, and initially I was a proponent for it. Now I'm not so sure it's what's best for the overall league, but we went to this thing like a pod system as it related to scheduling. And because we were preseason ranked fourth in the league, we're in that top pod, meaning we play FAU, Memphis, Tulane, SMU, North Texas, the other teams around us twice. And I think South Florida was ranked 13th in the preseason, so they're playing the lower-level teams twice. They played us one time. We were fortunate enough to get them. They only play Memphis once. They beat Memphis in Memphis, and they've got FAU coming to their building. So things are set up well for them. They're playing good, and they're certainly got a favorable schedule to close.
All right, everybody go support the Blazers, wear black, pretend you're Johnny Cash, and go all black. Coach, thank you for the time. As Johnny Cash said in that movie, you look like you're going to a funeral. He says, maybe I am.
Maybe I am.
Let's make it FAU's funeral tomorrow night. Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Definitely, guys. Thank you.
All right, take care. See you next week. Coach Andy Kennedy with us weekly, courtesy of Legacy Credit Union. He appeared on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Yeah, friends at Legacy, I always want to tell you about their balance transfer. When it comes to the Legacy credit card, you've got a different credit card right now and a high balance, right? And that's a high interest rate, sometimes into the 20s, high 20s. Transfer that over to a Legacy credit card, and for 6 months, you get 2.99% annual percentage rate. 8.9% APR new purchases right now. Terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. That's our friends at Legacy. LegacyCreditUnion.com. 9 convenient branches in the Birmingham metro area. Go check that out there. On National Signing Day, I was correct. 4-star wide receiver Ashton Bethel Roman has picked Texas A&M from Missouri City, Texas, 6'1", 180, a 4-star wide receiver. So he's in that class there. 5-star plus wide receiver Ryan Williams signed with Alabama. It means he's a 5-star across all services. He's a top 5 player in the 2024 class, and it's a recommitment, but today's the first day for him to sign, and he did that earlier. And he's being called one of the best players in Alabama high school football history by the recruiting services, like Hayes Fawcett calls him that. And he's the only Mr. Football, 2-time Mr. Football in state history.
Pat Sullivan, Bo Jackson, Julio Jones, Tony Nathan. I mean, that is a long list of really good high school football players in Alabama history.
Terry Bussey, 5-star plus athlete, picked Texas A&M today. So Mike Elko, defensive-minded guy, picked up a couple of playmakers on the final day of the signing period here, or the final signing day. But basketball is front and center tonight. Alabama and Auburn down at Neville Arena. Taylor Corn's there. Follow that all day long on social media. Check in afterwards at Next Round Live, and her and I will talk about the outcome of the game, and we'll have fun with that on our social platforms tonight. Set your alerts. Give us a thumbs up. And until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all can have the rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
What a great day to be alive as we get rolling on a Thursday now. A lot to get to, including Nick Saban's new job, the aftermath of college football recruiting, the Super Bowl this weekend, Charles Barkley's comments last night during the basketball game. But we, of course, start with the basketball game last night where Auburn beat Alabama 99-81 down at Neville Arena. It was never close, LT, after that 15-2 run to end the first half. Bama never got it back to single digits after that run to close out the first half.
Yeah, you know what was crazy was they're down 17 and then they go on a 19-4 run. Or they were down 15,
it was
16.
30-18. They were down 12 at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, so they take the lead, and then Auburn closes on a 19-4 run.
Yeah.
So when Alabama took the lead, I was like, okay, well, they're settling in. We're going to have a hell of a game here. And then it went back the other way, and they just got, that was what we call a dick whipping.
Yeah. We had that quote last night in our postgame show there. But, Brownie, as we discussed last night, one thing that happened when it was an entertaining, good game early on, Alabama was hitting threes.
Oh, yeah. I think at that moment where Lance is talking about there, where it was 30-18, I think at that moment when Alabama went on that run, they had hit 6 threes in the game, if I'm not mistaken, and they ended up with 9. So that tells you how cold they went from the field because they did not quit shooting threes until basically they weren't making any.
Yeah, 32-18 was the score at 10:01 mark.
Yep.
And then Reitzel hits one, and they go on that run.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the way, Auburn's defense on the perimeter was just, Alabama didn't have open shots really from that point on. There were very few open looks from three, and they played such a great defensive game, especially on the outside, taking Alabama's mismatch of when they had 4 guards on the floor to counter Auburn's big inside. They had the smaller lineup in there, which usually opens up shots out on the perimeter for Alabama. They never opened up last night. Auburn's defense was smothering inside the building, and they get the win 99-81. Let's get some reaction, not only from you in the chat room, but from post-game last night. We appreciate all of you who followed us on social media. Taylor down there covering it for us at Next Round Live. There's the team leaving the court last night after, what do you guys call that now, Scott? Is that a
condescending question.
Will you do the reverse Alabama cheer? What's it called? Reverse Dixieland Delight? Y'all reverse some stuff. What is it? Reverse what?
I think that would be the reverse Rammer Jammer.
Reverse Rammer Jammer. That's what you call that. Reverse Rammer.
How does that go?
You sing it backwards.
They sing the Alabama thing.
Yeah.
And just replace Auburn with Alabama. We just beat the hell out of you. Maybe they say heck down there. They beat the heck out of you? Is that what it was?
So condescending, Scott.
No, I think they beat the hell out of you. Actually.
I believe that's the way that went down.
No matter.
Yes, the high school moms and dads.
Bruce Pearl afterwards talking about just how big of a game this was for Auburn in the SEC race.
I felt like going in, this game was clearly the biggest regular season game we've had this year because if Alabama gets this one, they're 2 games up on us, and we're probably not in the championship race, and we'd like to still be in it. And so we put ourselves in a position where, at least we're still in it. Crowd was amazing. The environment was tremendous. ESPN goes to a lot of great buildings, a lot of sellout crowds. This place is different.
I will tell you this, and I saw this in our post-game chat room as well, Brownie, that, it's loud on television, but, I saw some people saying it feels like ESPN mutes the crowd a little bit. Well, I do think they have to control the crowd noise just so you can hear the announcers. You know what I mean? They do have to. Yeah. They have to sort of not mute, but they have to ride the crowd mics down and ride up the announcers. So it is crazier there in person than it comes across on television. And when people who go to the games go back and rewatch those, it may seem it seems crazy on television, but it is even crazier there in person.
Well, I was watching the first half in a restaurant and left right at the end of the first half and was driving back home at halftime. And the Sirius XM on SEC radio, their telecast was the Alabama portion. So it was Chris Stewart and Brian Passink and Tom Stipe. And I think that might be a better test because you could barely hear them.
That's right.
As Auburn was going on that run at the end of the half, you could barely hear them.
Yeah, I mean, it jumps through to me watching on TV. We watched it, our buddy Will Haver and I watched at a local restaurant and got there early, like 5:30, to make sure we got a seat at the bar. But, man, that crowd is just – it resembles what you see in the Big Ten, what you see in some of the ACC venues like Cameron Indoor. I mean, the crowd is on top of you. It's nonstop. Nobody sits.
Yes, it's perfectly designed for basketball. And you have to admit, Auburn, like you're supposed to, Auburn plays so differently there than they do anywhere else. Not that this team can't win in other places. They just did it at Ole Miss, and they may do it in the NCAA tournament coming up. But when you play there, I don't know how many extra points it's worth playing there compared to playing anywhere else, neutral site or somebody else's home floor. There is a distinct advantage for this group of Auburn players in that building. They play so much more comfortable there than they do anywhere else.
Yeah, I think almost like football, it's 3 points, home field most of the times. I think home court's around 3. But last night, these teams, at least coming into the game, Alabama winning 10 of 11, beating Auburn 2 weeks ago last night, it seemed like these teams were kind of evenly matched, but Auburn was a 6-point favorite. There's a reason they were a 6-point favorite because Neville, they're that good in that building.
Yeah, I would tell you, I watched that game and just went back to the one Alabama one and thought to myself, why did Auburn not try to play that game in Tuscaloosa like they played it last night? They played the whole game through Jalen Williams and Johni Broome.
Yeah, Jalen Williams and Johni Broome, I believe it was 30 field goal attempts between the two of them and 50 points between the two of them.
Yeah,
50 of 99.
Yeah, Jalen goes for a career high 26.
Yeah, they scored half their points, and Lance, Alabama hit 9 threes?
Yeah, I mean, look,
if you're going to allow Jalen Williams and Johni Broome, and this is the problem for Alabama, they're not the defensive team that they used to be. If you're going to allow them to score 50 points, Alabama's going to probably have to hit 15 threes to have any chance in that game.
Yeah, like on a given night, you go 35% behind the arc, you hit 9 threes, you got a good shot at winning.
Yeah.
But, in that venue against that team, by the way, 85 free throws they took last night?
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Well, between the two teams, not one team.
That's why, normally it's pretty close to it.
One team didn't take 85 free throws.
Oh, Auburn did take 50.
Yeah, 50 to 35. But, typically you got a 2-hour window for college basketball. It normally comes about that 2 hours. Last night it got pushed to about 2:25.
Well, I mean, sometimes you'll get a 2:10 because you'll get the yellow box that says, oh, by the way, so-and-so and so-and-so starting over on ESPN News and ESPN Plus. But to put it into context of what you're talking about, 50 free throws for Auburn, they made 40 of them, which was a school record, breaking a record that was set in 1959 when they shot 39 made free throws against Mississippi State, or maybe as they were called back then, Mississippi Southern or whatever they were back then. No, I guess that's Southern Mississippi. I guess Mississippi State's always been Mississippi State.
I think they were Mississippi A&T or something, or A&M.
Auburn was fresh off a national championship.
That's right.
In football.
Big moment then.
But that's how long that record had stood, since the 1950s, and made free throws.
Was Beard Eaves erected back then? I guess it was.
I'm sure.
It
they
looked like it was.
Sure, they were playing in the Auburn gymnasium.
And I've made this point multiple times this year. Both these teams can shoot free throws. I mean, both. Alabama was 28 of 35, 80%. Auburn 40 of 50, 80%. I can't recall the last time I saw 75 free throws in a game, though.
Yeah, that was a lot. It's a little too much there. I don't disagree.
Well, people are going to complain about the officiating about that. Too many fouls being called.
Well, there were.
Both sides.
But it didn't affect the outcome of the game.
Didn't affect the outcome of the game. But that's how the game was being played. I think they had to call those fouls. I think there were a lot more not called in that game.
But I'm kind of if both teams are doing it, I'm kind of going to let a lot more of it go. You know what I'm saying? Like if both teams, now if one team is playing that way and the other is not, I might be more apt to call it on the other team.
Yeah.
But if both teams are playing that way, I'm almost like, this is the way you coaches want the game. I'm going to call it that way.
Yeah, I'm shocked there were no technicals in that game. It was really close with Grant Nelson and Chad Baker.
Yeah, it was close a couple of times. But, on the perimeter, Auburn was playing so into the bodies. There were a lot of fouls called. Could have been more. But down low, Alabama outsized. Alabama's having to crawl all over the big men the whole game. And that's where a lot of the fouls were being called. That's why there were so many fouls called, because I think that the defense was fouling people, and they could have called. I think they could have called 85 more.
Here's what's crazy: is that many free throws were shot. Free throws were 14 Alabama, 16 Auburn at the half.
Yep.
That was at the half, and look how many they ended up shooting. I mean, you were only at 30 free throws at the half, and they ended up shooting 85, 55 free throws in the second half.
Yeah, because there were moments in the first half when it still was being played the way Alabama wanted to play it, in space and shooting the ball, not down in the paint. There were moments where Alabama, for the first 12 minutes of the game, still had a little chance of being in the contest, but then at the end it became too much Auburn. I was surprised listening, not surprised, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm going to stick with my first emotion. I was surprised in listening to the Auburn Network on my way back from the event I had to do in Tuscaloosa, and I'm listening to Auburn and Andy Burcham and Bruce do their pregame interview, and Bruce said this is one of the top 5 most important games I've coached at Auburn. And I'm sure he meant regular season, and I thought to myself, is it that important? And then as you watch that game play out, and then Bruce doubled down with it in the post game, and then here is Janai Broome afterwards. He made a point to, I guess, sell it to his team that this was one of the most important games that he's had at Auburn. Here's Janai Broome.
How big of an energy booster is this for you and this team?
That was a must-win. They was first in the SEC, and our goal is to win SEC. So we had to get a separator. We had to get one because a lot of people in the league ain't gonna beat Alabama. They're a very good team. So that was big that we were able to split with them. But we got to just keep it going.
Well, we discussed that on the show, I guess it was yesterday, is that an Alabama win here, they are going to be hard to track down in the SEC. Almost impossible for Auburn, but hard for everybody.
Well, you think about it. Auburn would have been 7-3. Alabama's 9-1. You've got a 2-game lead. You sweep the regular season series. It's really going to be almost impossible for Auburn to overcome that.
But it would have been tough on Tennessee and South Carolina, too.
Yeah, but I still think this is like a battle for supremacy of the state. Like, Alabama's got it in football. Auburn fans don't want to hear that, but right now, Alabama obviously is the dominant product. I think it's pretty obvious.
Realistic Auburn fans know it, yes.
But I really, Auburn had the Final Four, but Alabama was the number 1 overall seed. I don't know who the team is. Is there an alpha team in basketball? Both of these teams feel like top 10, top 15 teams this year, but nobody has established themselves the alpha.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Alabama's won 2 of the last 3 conferences and tournaments. Auburn has won 3 trophies in basically that same period of time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
If you guys were on a show in Kansas City and they're like, who owns that state in basketball, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying either side.
No, not at all. And more importantly, though, I think
that goes back to the point of Bruce Pearl made. You lose that game, Alabama's got all the momentum.
But more importantly to me is that Auburn and Alabama they're national players at this point in history in college basketball. That was the biggest game in the country.
Well, you heard Barkley.
Night.
You mentioned the comments, and he said there's no dominant team, which I kind of agree with. I don't feel like you've got a team that's going to roll into this tournament. They're going to be the clear-cut favorite. I think every team has got a chink in the armor. I don't think you trust any of these teams entirely. But he said Auburn is one of the 8 to 10 best teams in college basketball. I think when Alabama is on, they're obviously one of those teams too. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be surprised if Auburn or Alabama, this sounds crazy, wins a national championship for the first time.
Yeah, my fear with Alabama is I think there are certain teams that they will play that are matchup problems for them. Tennessee is one of them.
All about the draw.
Auburn, the way they played their game last night, is a matchup problem for Alabama. And there's some teams that won't be able to match up with Alabama correctly. Nate Oates, after the loss last night, and boy, I know Auburn people don't like this guy, but he is the most honest coach. He speaks his mind, and he doubles down. And this is him last night with his team still tied for first place. And listen to what he says in the postgame right here, where he just absolutely tells the truth about how that game played out.
It was a great game, great environment. It wasn't a great game, but the environment was great. Auburn was ready to go. We weren't. It's for first place. They came out, played like it was for first place. We played like we'd still be in first place if we won, which is a little disappointing because we could have separated ourselves a little bit, and we didn't. So now I'm guessing, I haven't looked at the scores, I'm guessing we're in a 4-way tie in the loss column in first place. So, we've got some work to do in these last 8 games. They were better than us. They played harder. They out-rebounded us. They were up on the glass most of the night. They took advantage of our smaller lineup inside. They turned us over. We didn't turn them over. A lot of the effort stats that you look at, rebounds, turnovers, they were better than us. So we got to go back. We got to play harder. They were definitely a better team, more prepared. They were ready to go tonight.
There's no excuse making for that guy, and he was exactly right. They played like it was a game for first place, and we played like a team that we're still going to be in first place even if we lose the game.
Well, I didn't think Alabama was ever comfortable. When they went on that mini run in the first half, but he said it. We turned the ball over. We couldn't turn them over. 15 turnovers for Alabama, only 5 for Auburn. Yeah. Auburn only turns the ball over 5 times. Watch out.
Oh, and that's, Trey Donaldson, and I know Aiden Holloway's part of that too. And a lot of people dribble the basketball and carry the basketball up and down the floor and distribute it and all that. But the way Trey Donaldson is playing and the way he's playing through contact and people being physical with him on the point, I really think it goes back. If I remember, I think I read a story Justin Hokanson talked about. Justin Hokanson talked about Trey Donaldson's football background. It helps him play through contact a lot. Justin with Auburn Live on 3 Sports. They had 4 turnovers in a game like that, where Alabama had a lot of 4 guards out there, which a lot of mobile, fast, good defensive guys. 4 turnovers. They didn't get their 5th turnover until 2:55 left in the game, when the game was way out of hands when they made their 5th turnover. That is remarkable ball handling.
Yeah, look, Holloway is going to be really good once he gets a little more confidence in game situations. But if I'm an Auburn fan, I feel better with Donaldson. And you heard Barkley. He said, he's not the best player, but he's my favorite player on this roster because of how hard he plays. But, it really doesn't matter. I don't think you can outscore this bench.
The Auburn bench? Yeah. It's going to be tough. They just bring bodies at you, man. That's a deep basketball team.
And, once we get to March, it's going to be a different game because it's neutral sites every single night. But right now, people were texting me before, who do you have in this game? Because they knew we were giving out a play at Lance's Lock. By the way, I got swept on this series. Had Auburn in the first matchup in Coleman, loser. Had Alabama last night, +6. People were like, why do you like Bama? And I was like, I just think it's going to be one of these games that comes down to the wire. I said, but Auburn's impossible to beat at home. And I should have known better. And they really are. 12-0 right now at Neville. And when they play just a B game, they're unbeatable there.
Alabama wasn't that far off their average turnovers. They averaged 12.5 a game. 15 is high, but it's not like it was a crazy high.
But the problem is you didn't turn Auburn over.
Well, yeah, Auburn averages 9.5 a game, and you only turn them over 5 times.
Yeah.
And that's
4 in meaningful time. Yes.
Yeah, so, you look at the gap there, and you can see how Auburn won that game by the margin they won it.
It's such an interesting theme because now, they only count 1. It felt like it was such a big game last night. In fact, Toomer's Corner rolled. I don't know if you do it after every Auburn win or not, but Taylor, who was covering for us, got down there last night. So Toomer's rolled last night. Crowd out there enjoying the Auburn victory as you get to drive by downtown Auburn last night, lit up in a lot of war dams as they threw the toilet tissue into the trees down there. It's a big win. But it only counts as 1. Now you got to go back this up for Auburn. They go on the road at Florida this weekend. Sneaky tough game down in Gainesville. A team that has the size inside that can match up with Auburn. Auburn's going to have to, hit some outside shots in this one. And then for Alabama, you got to put this behind you. You got to make sure that the old car is not broken down. You got a little confidence as you go on the road to Baton Rouge against not a great LSU team, a team you're so much better than, but a sleepy 11 o'clock tip in Baton Rouge coming off of what just happened to you in Auburn. Both those games raise, these are gut check games for you coming off a big emotional win like this for Auburn and a big emotional loss like this for Alabama.
Yeah, I agree. Both seem like trap games. If you're Alabama, you almost wish you were playing at Kentucky. Something that really grabs your attention, though, where you come out and you've got to play your best basketball because, much like Nate said, it was like we were playing to remain in first. I'm sure there's a mentality that this LSU team that got beat by, 20 last night to Tennessee, it seemed like LSU was up 2, and a minute later they were down 20.
Yeah.
And this LSU team is not very good, but you just wonder if Alabama's going to be able to get up for an 11 o'clock road game.
By the way, for Auburn, and just because this has been kind of a narrative for them, another quad 1 opportunity, back-to-back, they get quad 1 win number 2. This is another one Saturday at Florida. Florida's a top 75 team, obviously, in the net, so it's a road game against top 75, another quad one win for Auburn if they can get it.
It's a gauntlet in the SEC. We know that, but Barkley did agree with me. I know you were playing up to Stephen Pearl the other day, saying the SEC is a better conference than the Big 12. Barkley said Big 12 better
Big
conference.
12 is the better conference.
And once he left, Jamie Dykes agreed with me that the SEC is better than the Big 12.
Yeah, I think Jimmy knows where his check comes from.
Yeah,
Charles called him Jamie. Oh, Jamie.
And as they were going off, the mics are still up, and Barkley's like, did I call him by the wrong name?
Yeah, you did.
The whole interview, Charles.
Yes.
More on the other stuff Charles said that had people talking a little bit later in the show. We'll get to some football news, the Nick Saban news, and all that as we move through. A lot more from the locker room from Bruce Pearl, Nate Oates, Jalen Williams still to come on the show as Auburn gets the win last night, 99-81. Show being brought to you by a couple of great sponsors. One of those, Redmond Vodka. It is Charles Barkley's vodka as he was down there in Auburn last night.
Do they pour in Auburn Arena? I guess it's just beer, right?
I think it's only beer. I don't think they do the hard.
Beer and seltzers. Underneath, if you sit in some of the seats I've been blessed by some of my Auburn friends to take me to, over
in the bowels,
right behind the benches. You go back into a VIP area, and they pour some Redmond vodka.
Just saying, if there's vodka poured in Neville, it's going to be Charles Barkley's vodka, which is Redmond vodka. I had a client up here yesterday, and we were talking about vodkas, and I was like, for the price point, there's some other vodkas that get a little more pub. But if you want to support local, you want a great vodka for the price point, it is Redmond Vodka. It's available in 22 states now. Ask for it by name, 8 times distilled, gluten-free. Pick up a bottle today, local package or ABC stores. Available at the beverage place, pink package. It's Redmond Vodka.
Yeah, thank you, Jacobo. That is Arena Club is what he's calling it there. It's underneath there. You go back in there. And some people have their own rooms. You're stocked with, it's almost like a suite, but it's underneath. And then it's a big open bar area.
They got a DJ down there, people dancing around.
No DJs, but a lot of good times. It's a nice arena.
Somebody went to a Ravens game, and they were in a suite, and they said that they had a full-out DJ. And they said there was the people sitting in the seats in the front, like those 12, 15 seats. They were all watching the game, and everybody on the backside, it was just a club. They didn't even watch any of the game.
Sounds like a perfect setup for you sometimes, right?
No. Dry February, man. 8 days in.
Hey, when we come back, a little college football news off of National Signing Day and what Nick Saban's doing with his life now. All the show brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. All you have to do to get more details about this is go to this website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That'll get you in contact with Leslie and her board-certified team. There's no fee for a free consultation at all, so you can get details here and find out how Way to Wellness can design a weight loss plan for you. It is Way to Wellness. They've got no contract, no sign-up fees, and I said that first consultation is free. You want to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 pounds, they can make it happen. You want to control your blood pressure, your cholesterol, they can make that happen too. Just be healthier in 2024. Do it with our friends at Way to Wellness. It is the best, easiest, user-friendly thing I have ever done in my life when it comes to my health. I just hope if you're struggling with that thing in your life, you will use these folks. At least check them out for free. Planforme.com. Planforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com. Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
There are some people, I was telling Brown about this, Dylan Raiola, who decommitted from Georgia and committed to Nebraska. His dad did an interview on signing day yesterday with Rivals and told a story where when there was smoke floating around that Dylan Raiola was considering flipping to Nebraska, that Kirk Herbstreit called Dylan's dad up and said, "Oh, dude, he's got to do that." Talking about going to Nebraska. And basically told the dad basically said, well, when Herbstreit, sort of gave me a little confidence that Dylan could be an impact player and what a good guy Matt Rule was and stuff, that it made me feel a little bit better. It was always going to be Dylan's choice, but I felt better about, supporting Dylan on decommitting from Georgia and going to Nebraska. And, a lot of people are reading this and...
Oh, yeah. Hey, look. Ohio State ain't got to worry about Nebraska.
But they do about Georgia, their point.
Yeah.
And so Jeff writes in and says, hey, can we as Bama fans sue ESPN for tampering now and taking our coach, getting Nick Saban out of Alabama and onto the ESPN set?
Is this the biggest unkept secret, or was it pure speculation on I think most people's part that he was going to join?
10 years, I think everybody assumed that would be the next stop because he's not just going to disappear. I don't think that guy's wired that way to just completely give up something he's done his whole life, number one.
10 years in the making, though, right? Didn't we first hear the rumors back in 2013?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was one of the things that in 2013, Scott showed me the announcement from College Game Day that Nick Saban is going to join, and they did quickly follow up and say he is not replacing Lee Corso.
That's right.
That Corso will still be part of the crew.
I've got the whole, build me a desk this big, right? You guys make fun of our size of our desk sometime up here. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond, Pat McAfee, who's back, Nick Saban, Lee Corso. Give me a six-person desk.
I think I'd bump McAfee, Desmond, and Corso. I'd bring Corso on at the very end.
Yeah, McAfee's too entertaining. I like having him on there. I would say, Jim, what you're probably going to see is the one segment Nick Saban would not want to participate in is the picks. Simply because I just think he's too fresh out of the game. He's got too many former assistants that are coaching games and friends that are coaching games for him to pick against them.
Yeah, but if you're getting paid to do that, I agree with what Barkley said. Look, I'm not talking to your friends and family. I'm talking to the fans that are watching. If Saban's going to get paid to do this and be authentic, he needs to be able to pick games.
Why?
Because that's part of it.
Well, it's not part of it. I mean,
he shouldn't be like, this guy was my defensive backs coach, and man, I can't. Of course, you're probably right, because I remember asking him a question about recruiting. He's like, it's not fair to the recruits that I've recruited for the last 30 years to. Because I just asked him a simple question about.
I remember that.
Yeah, who was the best high school prospect you've ever seen?
I just think that. First of all, that pick segment is already crowded and often rushed.
Right.
To add one more voice to it. You know what I'm saying?
It is rushed.
Because you're adding a guest.
Yeah, you've got a guest picker, and then you've got now McAfee who's picking, and Corso and Herb Street, and and Desmond.
You gotta have Dion. Don't Dion come on every other game?
They've been there a lot. So, I mean, I think adding another guy only slows that segment down. So, I think ESPN would be fine with him not doing the segment. I just don't think Saban would have any interest in doing that.
You know, somebody asked me last night, what do you think he's making? And I estimate it's about 20 weeks of game day when you go through postseason and everything. Probably $2 million, $100,000 a weekend in a jet flight. Wouldn't you think? Is that about right?
Oh, I don't know. Ashley could tell us probably. Ashley, who used to work on game day, one of our great female listeners. She says people always assumed that he would be an analyst and would contribute to ESPN. She said, I'd never imagined he would be schlepping to college towns every week and sitting on the set of College Game Days.
It's actually, if you love college football, which I'm sure he does, obviously, it's actually the best gig you can get.
He was already schlepping to college towns every weekend.
You go to a private airport on a Friday morning, I would assume. You fly out, you meet with coaches on Friday. You do game day on Saturday. You fly back after game day, and you're putting in 48 hours for probably. And somebody told me last night, man, you're going way too light. He's getting more than that. And I'm like, I don't know.
What'd you say you think he's getting?
$2 million.
That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
I mean, I think $100,000
season.
I mean, $100,000 a weekend is not bad, right?
Yeah, no. $2 million for the season wouldn't surprise me. I think McAfee was paying him $1 million to make his appearance with him.
I'm going to say $5 million.
I mean, you might be right. I didn't realize McAfee was paying him $1 million.
Because remember, he's also doing at least one, if not 2 or 3 days of the NFL draft coming up in April, which will be the first thing he does for them. And then he's doing SEC Media Days, which is the most surprising of all to me, is that he's going to go to SEC Media Days.
I think that would have been, I've never go back there in my life.
Yeah, that jumped out to me, too.
So he's going to sit up there on the desk with all the guys, with Feinbaum, and sit there and do SEC Media Days. Not just his one day, but he's going to sit there for 4 or 5 days, however many it grows into at some point.
Well, I think what you're seeing, and we see this, a lot with these coaches, it is impossible for these guys just to completely turn it off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I envision, one day when I finally retire, I really envision completely retiring. I don't want to keep my hand in anything. But these guys are driven differently, right?
Yeah.
And they have been working 18-hour days for the rest of their life, or for their whole life, and they can't just completely turn that off. And I know he's playing golf every chance he gets. What?
I was at this event yesterday, and I don't know what I can say and not say.
I guess say it, and if somebody bitches at you should have said it.
What were you doing at the event?
I hosted a show for Yay, Alabama with Aaron Suttles. And then afterwards, the coaches were talking.
Well, let me ask you this.
To the boosters.
Was there any contract? Were you compensated?
I was not compensated, and there was no contract.
If there's no contract, no compensation.
But I'm not a member of the club they were talking to, And
you were there.
Yeah. Saban's still going to have that office at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and, it'll be interesting to see, if he... I'll just say it. Kane Womack said to the big group of Alabama boosters and Red Elephant Club people there that Nick Saban's going to learn the terminology of the new defense. And Kane was nervous. He says, I've got to teach Nick Saban our defense and our terminology. Can you imagine how knee-shaking that would be?
Can you imagine, like, you're up on the whiteboard and you're laying this out, and Saban does a Dunaway and kind of rubs his temples.
I was thinking that, Rockstar. Can you imagine if Saban acted like Dunaway? So you're going to blitz there. Okay. I'm sure blitzing there will work just fine. Yeah, I'm sure blitzing there will work just fine.
Is that when you get out the eraser and you're like, okay, I'm not, I wasn't 100% sold on that. I wanted to see your reaction. We're going to pull this one back a little bit.
Or just the names,
so you call it that?
We call this Teletubby 2, and he's going to be like, you call it what? Teletubby 2. What?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure the players will understand that.
Yeah.
That would
if Saban's anything like you, which I don't think Saban's anything like you at all, but if he is, that's going to be an uncomfortable meeting.
No, that's even more uncomfortable than the original press conference on Saturday for Kalen DeBoer, where Saban was sitting 5 feet in front of him.
Yeah, but it was funny. I mean, that whole coaching staff just really good on the mics and a young, energetic group, and for Kane to do that, Kane stole the show too. By the way, he was of all the guys speaking on the microphone, he was the most comfortable and the funniest of them all.
Yeah.
And he had the crowd laughing. He was like, so I'll tell you what, it's got to happen for me coming up in a few weeks. I'm really nervous about it. And he told, I've got to teach the GOAT, one of the great defensive minds in the history of football, our defense and our terminology.
I would say he can't fire you, but he could.
I just don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but he has not been in Tuscaloosa a whole lot since the retirement.
Show me the picture from yesterday. Hey, where was Nick Saban yesterday, Brown? It looks like he has, I think it's probably knowing Coach, this is a full 9.
You think so on the par 3?
Maybe an 8.
So he's at the Phoenix Open Pro-Am in the Stadium Hole, the 16th, probably the most nerve-wracking golf shot he's ever hit, because regardless of who it is, you miss the green, they boo you.
Yeah. I would say that's the most people he's hit a golf shot in front of.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt.
Look, he's living his best life right now, but I guess he's just thinking, once we get to the fall, I've got to be involved in some capacity.
I guess so. That was my point, though. I mean, he's got this office at Bryant-Denny, but the guy ain't exactly living in Tuscaloosa right now. He spent a lot of time in Jupiter, Florida, which I would be, too.
Yeah, we've always said the best thing in the world is options.
Yeah,
and this guy's got more than anybody.
Yeah.
My first takeaway on this, I got 2. Leave it up there for me, Forrester. My first one is he's sticking with the Alabama hat.
Yeah, he's got the old straw hat on. That's kind of his look now.
Yeah, never been a fan.
So he's rolling with that. And the second one is I never thought it was that cloudy in the desert ever.
Not typically.
I think they've had some rough weather over there, like certainly California has.
They call it an atmospheric river.
Beg your pardon?
An atmospheric river, and they had 2 of them in recent days in California, bringing 3 months worth of rain in one day.
I will tell you, that is the most miserable tournament I've ever been to.
That one right there?
Yep.
The waste management?
And this was back in my heyday of debauchery. So this was...
My heyday of debauchery.
Well, I mean, this is when I could go hard. So I went out there for like 5 days to Phoenix. It was the 2007 Super Bowl where New York upset New England.
Okay.
And so we went out the day before on the Saturday. And I can't tell you, like, you couldn't... It would be like maybe being in Times Square for New Year's Eve. It was just so chaotic. There were so many people... it did not resemble a golf tournament. I guess that's what they kind of want.
That's what they want. Yeah, we had a guy send us a photo from number 16 today holding up his hat. It's going to get buried in all the comments already in the show. Here it is, Gaston. Dunaway calls somebody Gaston.
Yeah, I think it's him, Gaston.
Gaston. He's got the next round hat, and he's on the 16th at the Phoenix. That is actually a bucket list for me. And I'm going to regret doing this. I can already tell you, but there was a reason I couldn't go at the time. But I was invited for Saturday's round. Somebody had a suite ticket for Saturday. I should have done it.
If you're in the suite, if you get there early, you don't deal with the crowd, you sit in the suite, you stay there, probably not bad.
Yeah, I think the one reason I said no is I think it's a standing invite. I think I can get it again if I need it. But I'm going to go someday. That is actually a bucket list. I'd like to sit on the 16th one day and watch it.
Our friends, Lauren Sisler and her husband, John Willard, so Lauren Willard now, but her television name is Sisler, they went last year, maybe 2 years ago to it, and they had a blast.
Yeah.
He's a big golfer, she's not, but they had a blast.
Oh, yeah, I've heard the 16th is incredible. There's Gaston. Scott is showing you Gaston's photo of the next round hat on the 16th today, round 1 out in Phoenix.
You would get worn out.
Oh, I probably would, because I'm not going to drink, as much as most people there are. I might have a drink or two, right, a whole day. And there is a lot of alcohol consumed there. But it's a heck of a scene, man.
Good-looking people.
It is, I'm sure. It's what I wish golf were more of. I wish there was more of that in golf, honestly.
Oh, I do too, but like a happy medium.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a touch over the top.
Yeah, allow them to do their jobs, but that's that kind of stadium excitement on every hole.
Yeah, we used to go to that par 3 at Oxmoor Valley back in the heyday of debauchery.
Yeah.
This is a little bit before 2007, but by that back 9, we would be teeing off on beer cans, Bud Light cans.
Yeah, I can imagine that. One of my favorite moments of last year was, Hey, Rockstar, I am apologizing for this. Can you send Dan Orlovsky? Have you already sent him a link?
Not.
Go ahead and send him a link. I think he wants to jump on early. I apologize for doing that quick.
That's okay.
But last year, we're sitting on the 10th at Regions, and they tried as much as they could to replicate that with the place up there. And there's some old pro up there putting on 10, and the mariachi band shows up, and they think the 10th green is clear, and right before the guy puts, and he spun that head around like, what are you doing? It was fantastic.
When is Orlovsky going to join us?
Could be in the next segment. Yeah,
okay.
he was scheduled for 10. I think his schedule might have changed a little bit.
Okay, well, let's jump to break here. And
That's my apologies.
Then we'll get to Orlovsky and then back to everything else that went on with signing day yesterday and Auburn's big win in basketball last night. Show being brought to you by a couple of great folks. Before LT tells us about Gutter Cap, let me tell you about Urology Centers of Alabama. UrologyCentersAlabama.com is the website. UCA has over 35 urologists on hand, 16 locations across Alabama, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones. They'll take care of you. Stay in health, good health, Alabama, and also get that early detection. UrologyCentersAlabama.com, UrologyCentersAlabama.com to schedule your appointment. And our friends at Gutter Cap, keeping your house safe and maybe adding value to it before you sell it.
Yeah, look, the last thing you want to do after a long week of work is the dirty, dangerous job of cleaning the gutters. Never do it again. Call our good friend Chris Stewart today. Cap it, don't snap it, 205-823-2212. He's been in business more than 20 years right here in the Birmingham area. Make the call today. Cap it, don't snap it. You don't want to get on the roof. You slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. You're no good to the wife or kids. Call Chris Stewart today for the absolutely free estimate, 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
Follow John Lunsford on Twitter @JLuntz.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the Next Round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to The Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Back with you on the next round. Of course, National Signing Day wrapped up yesterday, and you end up with the top 5 recruiting classes: Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Miami, and Ohio State. More on those signing classes coming up. Auburn ended up with a top 10 class at number 10, that from the 24/7 composite. Basketball last night, our precision sound of the day. You go back to cut number 2, rock star Bruce Pearl, just talking about the game that Jalen Williams and Janai Broome had last evening, and they had 50 of the 99 points that Auburn scored. Here's the Auburn head coach after the big win.
The road trip to Mississippi State and Alabama, Jalen didn't play very well. He recognizes that he's one of our best players and one of the better players in the league. And so if we're gonna win, he's got to be able to deliver. And I think he really has. Both Janai and Jay Will have got that inside-out dimension, offensively and defensively. They can guard inside, they can guard in the perimeter. They can score inside, they can score in the perimeter. And they're good passers. I did at the beginning of the year, I did talk about the fact that I thought we had pretty good front line. I went probably, if we look me up, would say I think we have one of the better front lines in our league. I think I said that. Didn't get a lot of talk about it. I think Jalen Williams and Janai Broome could get some discussions about front lines in the country right now.
That's Bruce Pearl last night, 99-81, Auburn the win. That sound brought to you by our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Remember the number, 205-512-3885, 512-3885, precisionsportsortho.com/2024. If you tweak a back, cheering for your favorite team or being upset with your favorite team or trying to keep up with Taylor Corn after an Auburn win as she walks to a field nearby Neville Arena in our postgame show, whatever tweaks your body, they'll get you back into the game. Orthopedic care, better together. It is our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, 205-512-3885, precisionsportsortho.com/2024. The reaction before we talk to Orlovsky about the Super Bowl and everything else going on in Vegas, the reaction to Auburn's win on the computers. And I think I have this. If you'll do the net, Brown, I'll do KenPom.
Okay.
On KenPom, Auburn is now 4, Tennessee is 5, and Alabama is 7. So 4, 5, 7, Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama in the KenPom. Now, that's the one that a lot of the coaches respect, but the one the committee actually uses is the net.
Tennessee jumped Alabama last night, so Tennessee up to 5. This after last night's games, obviously. Alabama drops to 6. Auburn stayed at 7 last night. So not a huge change in the net. And if you pay attention to the net, you don't get a lot of big sweeping changes. It's not – I think when the net first came out, I kind of thought it was going to be like the Associated Press poll. Like if you fall – if you lose, you're going to fall. It does not change a time. So you don't get a lot of big jumps in the net. But, yeah, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn in that order, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, so keep in mind – still a lot of basketball to play, 8 games in conference for all these teams, a conference tournament, and then Selection Sunday. But we're getting down to it a lot closer. Big win last night for Auburn. We're getting ready for the Super Bowl, but a couple of other things going on. Betting lines on where Justin Fields takes his first snap next year in the NFL. Which team? Who do you think right now is the betting favorite?
Well, I mean, the favorite should be the Bears.
It is, the Bears. Close second.
But right after the Bears...
These were yesterday's odds, plus 100 for the Bears, plus 140 for the next team.
I am going to go Pittsburgh.
Forrester's dead on. Give me Fields on the Falcons. Plus 140 with the Falcons.
I was thinking the Falcons. That's who I was going to say.
Yeah, I don't know if that's because of a Georgia tie there that skews the betting market. You go up to plus 450 with Las Vegas, the Raiders. And then the team after that is Seattle, and then they get into the thousands, plus 1,000.
Yeah, I've heard that Seattle will stick with Geno Smith at least this year because they want a guy that's got a lot of starts under his belt. I still think Fields got a lot of upside. I mean, if I was Forrester and you guys get Fields, that's the best team in the NFC South.
I would say I would like to see him on the Falcons. I think he could thrive on the Falcons. I really do.
I do too.
I think Justin Fields would be fantastic on the Falcons.
There's a lot of good parts on that Atlanta Falcons team.
Yep. And he can deliver it to those parts much better than anybody they had on that roster this year. And the added dimension of his ability to run, I really, really would like him in that offense.
Yeah, I think people have tapped out too quickly. We've seen high moments for Fields. We've seen some low too. But let's face it, man, when you look at the lack of talent around him and that organization where Chicago is right now, if he could get out of there and go back to a place he's familiar with, I know it didn't end well in Athens for Justin Fields, but with those weapons, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson, those guys are going nowhere.
I'm with Lance. You're immediately the favorite in the South with him.
Yeah. What do you always say about NFL coaches and jobs?
Well, they are never without one. Once you're an NFL coach, you're an NFL coach for life. You retire, and that's the only way you're out of the NFL.
No matter how old you get.
Yep.
These are the people that the Dallas Cowboys are interviewing for their position.
Right.
Mike Zimmer, Ron Rivera, this is for defensive coordinator. Mike Zimmer, Ron Rivera, and Rex freaking Ryan.
Rex Ryan of ESPN.
I mean, he's been doing the studio at ESPN for how long now?
Years.
Yeah, I think I would rather stick in the studio, but if he wants to get back into it, I would think your favorite there is probably Zimmer, just some familiarity, former defensive coordinator. He's got a relationship with Jerry Jones. But, I mean, all those guys got great reputations on the defensive side of the ball.
I mean,
I still don't think it matters for whatever reason until Jerry dies. I don't think he's getting another one. I don't know if he sold his soul early on.
But how old is Rex Ryan?
I would say that Rex is 67.
And he has not worked in the NFL since the Jets head coach, right?
I don't think so.
He was the Bills head coach. I always forget about that 1 year. Rex Ryan is aged 61.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Dude, he's an old 61, isn't he?
He really is. Because 67 did not surprise me.
Because it's like he doesn't have gray hair anymore. He's got straight out silver hair in his teeth.
Well,
it's like he bought his teeth tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're that new.
They haven't been open yet. They're so new there. All right.
I don't know. I don't know. These guys, again, and we talked about this with Nick Saban, they cannot give up coaching. They just can't do it. And I know what Saban's trying to do is he's thinking I can at least get enough out of talking to the Alabama staff, keep that office in Tuscaloosa, breaking down film for game day. I could get enough of that to keep it in my blood a little bit, right? And I think Rex Ryan probably felt that at ESPN. I'll break down film. I'll sit there and talk about it all the time. I'll watch all the games. They just can't get it out of their blood. They're addicted.
Speaking of the NFL, something happened in Tuscaloosa yesterday. It was I don't know if it's newsworthy or not, but it was at least interesting for the time being. Before Forrester pulls up the picture of Ryan Grubb, tell me about JohnstonRVCenter.com, our friends up there that we'll be seeing pretty soon at a show downtown in Birmingham.
Yeah, coming up on the 24th because that's when they'll be at the show at the BJCC. But you could get show pricing right now on their lot in Coleman. They'll be doing a lot show right there in Coleman, February 23rd through 25th. That's I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. That weekend also at the BJCC. We'll be there Saturday the 24th with a live show. Great inventory of campers on site. RV show prices, good all the month of February. So if you can't make it that one weekend, does not matter. You'll get RV show pricing the entire month of February. If you want to RSVP, though, and here's how you're going to get some good incentives. JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. That is JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. RSVP and get up to $1,000 in special incentives. So already RV show pricing, great pricing, plus $1,000 in incentives at JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
So yesterday over at the Zone in Tuscaloosa, the folks with the Red Elephant Club and Yay, Alabama, hosting a national signing Yay, they call it because of Yay, Alabama, get together. They do this every year, and all the assistant coaches and the coaching staff talk to the crowd. Kalen DeBoer introduced Kane Womack first, and then after that, the coaches just walked up, introduced themselves, and talked to the gathered crowd of Alabama fans. And this is the picture when Ryan Grubb gets up there, and not being introduced, the first thing he says is, "I'm Ryan Grubb. I'm your offensive coordinator." And the crowd goes crazy at that point. I sent out that information yesterday after you talked with Brock Heward up here about what happens if Ryan Grubb is not. This doesn't mean 100% that he is not going to the Seattle Seahawks or anywhere else, but he's still working hard in Tuscaloosa, doing all the things he's supposed to be doing and getting ready to be a part of the Kalen DeBoer staff, at least through yesterday.
You know, when we started to hear the rumblings that Mike McDonald and the Seahawks organization, John Snyder and those guys might be interested in Ryan Grubb coming back to Seattle, started to ask around, and everyone that I talked to said he's out recruiting. And for him to come out and say that, he didn't have to say that.
Yeah. Was it a definitive? Can you reenact it for me, please? You don't have to stand up. I'm just going to get you to say it. Okay, so, all right. Well, I mean,
he doesn't have hair either.
Rockstar. I didn't know we had to go to costumes.
I'm Ryan Grubb, and I'm your offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah. If he said it like that, that is definitive. I think that is to well,
I didn't know if it was going to be like, I'm Ryan Grubb, and I am your offensive coordinator. And everybody goes crazy. He didn't do that?
Well, I mean, for him to say, I'm your offensive coordinator, that's impactful. And I think that was premeditated. And if you're reading into that, you're right. I mean, Seattle could come with some ridiculous offer. The guy they wanted, Mike Kafka, just got named assistant head coach for the New York Giants after them blocking that interview. So I don't know what direction Seattle goes. Maybe Grubb, though, just finally had the epiphany that I've been with Kalen since 2007. Let's see what this SEC is all about, and we'll go from there.
Discount Daniel wants you to do the reenactment in an Australian accent now.
Good day, everybody.
Everybody.
I'm Ryan Grubb. The Seattle Seahawks.
By the way,
was he impressive? By the way,
that whole coaching staff was really entertaining. I mean, I don't know if they can coach a damn lick of football, but they are wonderful on the microphone.
Now, if that was LSU, would you say the same thing?
I'm just saying, I don't know if they can coach football. They were entertaining on the microphones. For instance, when Freddie Roach walked up there, he got a standing ovation.
He's a holdover
for hanging there and former Alabama player.
Well, I mean, where was Freddie going?
Freddie's a good recruiter, though.
No, he is, but I'm just saying, like, the best thing he could have done was stay there.
He said, thank you, and then he turned to all the other coaches who were sitting to the left, and he said, I'm going to go ahead and tell all of you guys, these guys are going to give me hell that you guys stood up for me when I walked up here. He looked over there, and they were all ragging him already. So they got a good camaraderie on this coaching staff, but they were all really funny. If I was the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I'd buy a lot of wireless microphones and wire these guys up.
Yeah, right. That's what they want. The Seattle Times reported Chip Kelly has interviewed for that position, too.
Yeah. I was going
to So real quick, Brock brought that up yesterday. And for Chip Kelly to leave UCLA going into the Big Ten to be maybe the offensive coordinator for who knows, a year in Seattle, because Mike McDonald's probably not going to get fired after a year. If the offense doesn't work, Chip Kelly could get fired.
Dude, they don't have a proven quarterback there. And by the way, he interviewed with the Raiders job. He was mentioned for the Commanders OC job. And not only does it look like he would take a job, he looks like he's shopping for a job.
He's trying to find anybody that will hire him.
He's trying hard to leave head coach at UCLA. I just was going to point out on the reaction to the tweet I sent out of Ryan Grubb, two things. One, Seattle Seahawks fans are vicious. I guess all NFL fans are when you say anything about their team or somebody that their team wants.
Right.
And I didn't really say that. I just reported this. The other is the Washington folks are angry that they don't have this coaching staff anymore. They are.
Nobody was bragging about.
Would you not be Jed Fish as your guy now?
I mean, they love this coaching staff in Seattle. All right, Dan Orlovsky likely in the next segment with us from Las Vegas on the Super Bowl. We'll get to that coming up all right here on the next round. Back to Auburn basketball. Rockstar has 4 downs, and we'll talk a lot of stuff still to come, including a little bit in context what Barkley said on the air last night. They got a lot of play on our postgame show. That's coming up right here on TNR.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified fit specialist will use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trussville. Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
The world-famous Bellagio fountains are a bunch of TV sets this week as the Super Bowl's in Vegas. And with all the times we talked to Dan Orlovsky, Brownie, I'm told today he will be trying the Big Swagoo's chicken sandwich later today.
I've not heard this. Dan, welcome in. Dan Orlovsky with us.
Apparently he hasn't either.
Yeah, Dan,
I haven't either.
This is news to
Say
him.
hello from guys. That's not the real Caesar's Palace, just so we're clear. I have not heard that. I have not heard about that chicken sandwich, but I'll take it.
Where did you get this information, by the way?
Our friend Ashley, who works in the business, says, and she knows the big Swagoo, says he asked Dan about trying the Big Swagoo's chicken sandwich later today.
Okay.
Maybe somebody.
I saw it on social media that it was with a company I think he does like fish fry with, and I was like, I'd probably eat this just because I wouldn't eat most of the food that Marcus eats. So maybe there's some legs to that.
Do you eat bread?
Not really. I don't eat bread a ton. No. Some pizza. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't live without bread.
It's the Bellagio fountains, guys.
Yeah. Is that the real Bellagio?
Hey, so
that's the real one.
Dan, best movie that's got a Las Vegas backdrop.
Best movie that's got a Las Vegas backdrop is Hangover.
Okay. Yeah. Just checking.
Yeah, that was in the running. Yeah.
I mean, there's some good ones. You mentioned the Bellagio. I mean, Ocean's 11 was
Fantastic
out there,
movie,
leaving Las Vegas.
Great movie.
Casino.
Casino. I mean, there's
I got one right.
You did. There's some really good Las Vegas movies. The Cooler.
Yeah. Hey, if before you get to your destination here, because it's a shorter drive, I think, from New York to wherever you're going in Las Vegas, unless you get started on traffic.
That is.
I want to about the actual game coming up on Sunday. What can Kansas City do to sort of put Brock Purdy in a bad situation defensively? Is there an advantage that the Chiefs can do to confuse or make Purdy, have to win the game for the 49ers?
Yeah, it's win first down defensively. If the Chiefs, and that's something that they like foundationally and identity-wise believe in, win first down. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, is one of those guys that when you sit down and talk with him, no matter who the opponent, you go, Coach, what do you guys got to really hone in and focus on? He's like, we got to stop the run. And sometimes you get tired of hearing defensive guys say that because you're like, I know you have to stop the run. Like I know football well enough, but it is a core foundation of who he is. And he's one of those coaches that does, a really good job of trying to do that in a couple ways. Number one, they do it with bodies, like they will commit people down to the football. And then the second thing is they'll do it with run pressures, slanting their defensive line, pressuring a corner off the edge so they can, kind of secure gaps and whatnot. If they can do that on early downs, then that's going to put them, San Francisco, in a bind two ways. Number one, Kansas City can dial up some of their more exotic pressures, and they have some of the most exotic blitzes in the NFL. And then two, San Francisco's offensive line is not an elite pass protecting offensive line. Outside of Trent, they struggle. Trent Williams. Kansas City's blitzes and the way that they create one-on-one matchups advantage Kansas City. So they can win first down defensively. That goes a long, long way for that defense.
Dan Orlovsky is with us from Vegas. MyBookie.ag has brought you Dan all season long. MyBookie.ag code next round. When you sign up to get that sign-on bonus at MyBookie.ag, Dan has arrived at his destination. What is the destination?
I'll stand outside. Paris. We're at the Paris Hotel.
Okay. All right. If you need to go, just tell us. You can go.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I just wanted to get out. I didn't want to bother the driver anymore.
Oh, okay. You're all good. Hey, so,
is that the real Eiffel Tower?
Yes.
Yes, they moved into Vegas. Hey, so San Francisco is known for forcing you to basically work outside the numbers. I don't envision Andy Reid being forced to do anything he doesn't want to do offensively. How does that battle play out?
Well, I think San Francisco forces you to work outside the numbers, but also they're not as strong outside the numbers as they are inside. One of the things that's been really interesting about Kansas City's offense is they've become so game plan specific in the playoffs. Against the Dolphins, it was 3-level throws, and they ran them a bunch of different ways. And then against Buffalo, it was, they're going to get in a certain formation and run at their nickel. And then against Baltimore, it was 4 strong. I don't anticipate, that they're going to, Andy Reid, run from, the opportunities to throw the ball outside the numbers. I think that they'll kind of welcome that because they've done a good job of that in the playoffs. Also, the way, one of the things that's happened with Rashee Rice is, the guy that's become their number one receiver is they're not asking him to break down routes anymore. He's just running straight lines. And they're just trying to get the ball in his hands. I think that's going to be something that we see out of Andy Reid and Kansas City's offense. Like, hey, let's get the ball into those guys' hands and force this defense to go sideline to sideline. Now, they're usually good at it, but they're going to have to tackle really well in space against both Rashee and Kelsey. So there'll be some action outside the numbers, but they don't run from that because Patrick's so good.
If I said Nick Bosa, most important defensive player for San Francisco, I would disagree. Okay, well, I was just asking because Mahomes has been so difficult to get to in the postseason. Only 2 sacks in 3 games, and you look at Bosa coming off 2 big sack game against Detroit. I would assume you got to be able to get him to the ground, though, right?
Yeah, I think the most important person on that defense is Javon Hargrave, interior. So you mentioned Patrick's been sacked twice. No one's really gotten to him pressure-wise, and the question goes, well, why? I think that the thing, part of the game plan specific stuff that is a byfactor of that is they've done such a tremendous job of helping their offensive tackles in protection by formations. And they're not singling those guys up on a consistent basis. More often than not, they'll put a tight end there to help, or they'll go with Pacheco there to help. And so what they're saying is we're going to help those tackles. They're not going to be the reasons we lose games. And they believe that their interior three, Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, and Allegretti, now, Joe Thuney being out, that those three can handle the other two. And Baltimore had a couple moments when they got after Patrick in the way that they did. So, I think that if San Francisco's defensive line is going to have moments where they impact this game, Bosa's got to do his job. But pass rush-wise, I think it's got to be Hargrave winning on the inside.
So back in July, we were up at SEC Media Days in Nashville, and the SiriusXM guys went out with the AAA affiliate, the Nashville Sounds, and they all took cuts. I forgot what the speed of the jugs was, but the only guy that consistently put wood on it was Dari Noka. And he swore he took no cuts before, and I'm getting to a point here. And, of course, I had a couple of cocktails, saw him at a bar, and I was like, I guarantee you took cuts before you actually got out there. The precision passing at the Pro Bowl, you actually had the best score of any of the active quarterbacks. Did you have a couple of run-throughs before?
No, I picked up the ball that was like the bin of balls I picked up, and I was like, the reason why I did that was they were dry running all the events for television. So the television people and all the moving parts were ready for the actual event the next day. So they said, hey, we're going to dry run this with the cameras and all that stuff. Would you do? And I was like, sure. So I walked over there and I picked up a ball and I was like, oh my gosh, dude, I have not thrown a ball in years. And so I was like, all right, give me like 10, 15 throws, just me to one of our producers, 15, 20 yards away. I was just like, I got to warm up just a little bit. And so I was like, I took 15, 20 throws, just, point A to point B with him. And then they were like, all right, these are the rules, horn sounds, this and that. And I was like, all right, give me the rules one more time. And they gave it to me. I was like, all right. And they were like, you ready? I'm like, sure. Because they were running through all these different drills. I wasn't necessarily like, hey, I can't wait to do this. And I wasn't trying to, take up too much of their time. So no dry runs, but I got a lucky day, man. I got a lucky day.
You still got it.
I will tell you, I don't know if you've seen the report. Right now, you're third on the Indianapolis Colts depth chart.
I don't want to go do that. That would be a pay cut right now for me. So.
That's kind of good at ESPN.
Humble brag.
That's a high-end talent at ESPN. Yeah. You think they put everybody up?
The third string quarterback doesn't make as much as the public thinks they do.
Yeah. You think they put the low-end talent at Paris? No, they put the high-end talent at Paris.
Yeah, I just want to know.
Yeah.
Is Saban making more as a new colleague of yours?
Oh, God, yeah.
Do you think he'll enjoy that? I mean, you do it. Do you think a coach can itch that competitive scratch he's got by doing that every week on game day?
I think he'll enjoy it. It's not going to feed that competitive, need that he has. But I think he'll enjoy it. I think he'll be around, like being around that group. That group is awesome. I think he'll be like being around different campuses and whatnot and feeling the energy of, the students still on the college campuses. But it is not going to feel that competitive, psycho drive that he has. No, but he's aware of that.
Yeah. All right, he is Dan Orlovsky. See him from Vegas all week leading up to the Super Bowl the rest of this week. Thank you very much. This is our final regular visit with Dan. He'll be back on. We have very much enjoyed it all season long, Dan. Thank you for doing
Dan.
this.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, I've had a ton of fun with you guys. It's been a lot. You guys ask good questions, and we've had some fun. So I thank you guys.
Yeah, well, enjoy Vegas and enjoy the game. We appreciate it.
All right, fellas.
All right, man. See you. Dan with us each week, courtesy of mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign up to get that sign-up bonus. Don't forget, coming up Friday. Friday after the show, this is an answer to a text you sent us the other day. Yes, we do have something in addition to the Mystery Fifth Hour Friday. I forgot to mention this. What?
I literally booked a tea time right when you did that.
We've been promoting this all week. There's really no excuse for you not knowing.
Yeah. I was around yesterday. What'd you shoot? What'd you shoot yesterday?
I played okay. It was my first full round of the year.
Yeah, I got one Saturday. It was horrible scoring.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Was that you trying to make me feel bad for playing golf yesterday?
No. I was just interested about
you
your
were
score.
not just interested.
Well, I'm interested on this Friday because I don't know if I know anything about it.
Yeah, Friday. Again, been talking about it a lot on the show here. MyBookie.ag, you were
I know this.
Yeah, the simulation.
Yeah. I know this.
Yeah, the MyBookie big game simulation. So here's what we're going to do. You can go right now to nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com/TNRSIM. That's TNRSIM. All you got to do is enter your information and pick a side. It is either San Francisco -1.5 or Kansas City +1.5. We're going to simulate the game. We're going to give commentary during the game simulation.
Is that where I come in?
Yes, sir. And if you're on the
Can I be Dan Orlovsky outside of Paris on a golf course?
If you're on the right side, if you're on the correct side here, you're in the contest to win a $1,000 credit, a $500 credit, or a $250 credit at mybookie.ag. We'll give away each one of those, $1,000, $500, $250. It is the mybookie.ag big game simulation coming up Friday right here on this same platform. You'll get an alert just like always.
All that is coming up there on Friday, which is tomorrow, as we get ready for the big game coming up this weekend. Right here on the Next Round platforms. Show also being brought to you by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. More on the Super Bowl in a second, but I want to remind you that our super friend Greg from Pell City is willing to get up on your roof right now. It's a free no obligation. There you go. Free, no obligation roof inspection with our friend right there, Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Insurance companies trust these guys because they're so good at what they do for a business, and they'll fight for you too. I've got a customer right now who's a Next Round viewer that is trying to get 100% on the roof. They want to pay 80. I think it's up to 90 now. Greg's out there busting it for you. He'll do that. Locally owned, as I said, he and his wife own the company. Here is the cell phone number. It's on the screen, 205-542-3531, or just look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. There is a lot of conversation going into this Super Bowl game that Steve Spagnuolo has looked at one former Super Bowl and the defense that was employed by this coach, that this is what he's going to lean on to win the game for the Chiefs this weekend.
This would be when he was in New York in 2007.
Nope.
No,
it's going to be against his Rams.
Bill Belichick's defense against the Rams when he threw that quirky 6-1 defense against Jared Goff, who was young in the business.
I can tell you the drive charts for the Rams because I got this sent to one of my dick friends sent me this the other night.
You were bad. Your team was baffled by it too. They can do anything.
Look, and I give Wade Phillips a lot of credit. You know, the defense coordinator for the Rams. They only gave up 13 to Tom Brady. So first possession, 3 and out. Second possession, 5 punt. I'll just go punt, 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 field goal, punt, interception, missed field goal.
One of the most boring.
That's the whole game.
That's the whole game.
One of the most boring Super Bowls I've ever watched. Yeah. It was just, and I know you hated it because you had spent money to be there and watch your team lose. On TV, it was no better. Trust me.
12 possessions, 9 punts, a missed field goal, a turnover, and 1 field goal.
So six people on the line of scrimmage, some blitzing, some not, some dropping. 1 rover behind that, and then your DBs. And apparently Steve Spagnuolo has used this defense at times throughout his career, and the Chiefs are very comfortable. They've worked on it all season long. They've thrown it out there in places. But the analysis I was reading from people who are breaking down the game say all the NFL people that are covering this game, they get the feeling this is what the Chiefs are working on in practice, to throw at Brock Purdy, to sort of put it in his hands to have to make great reads every snap.
Look, Steve Spagnuolo has done an incredible job, and you know, we've said this, a lot of people have said this. This is by far the best defense Pat Mahomes has had. But here's Todd Monken, and here's Kyle Shanahan. And I can't even, like, I got
a big enough gap.
I got a pretty good wingspan, but that's the gap between them. And Todd Monken, for whatever reason, the NFL's leading rushing offense, decided to run it 16 times against a defense that is 27th against the run. You won't see that with San Francisco.
Have you ever seen the story about Jimmy Johnson? I don't remember the Super Bowl number. Lance probably will. It was the one where the Bills and the Cowboys played in the Georgia Dome. And he was in his hotel room. This is wild. In his hotel room, just watching. I don't know if it was the local news in Atlanta or if it was ESPN or whatever. I mean, this is back in the mid-'90s, so ESPN wasn't like wall-to-wall the way they once were. But he saw it somewhere. It was just B-roll from practice. It was the part of the practice was open to the media where normally players are just goofing off. And he noticed Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas working on a draw handoff, like a smoke draw type handoff, just working on the timing of it. And he's like, we haven't seen that all year on their film. Why are they working on that at Super Bowl practice? So he goes and tells his defensive coordinator, I can't remember the legendary defensive coordinator working with Jimmy Johnson. He's like, hey, work on this. I saw it on TV. And sure enough, the Bills come out and try to run it, and Dallas stones it every time.
It's so stupid. You are in a Super Bowl for a reason. You've had consistency all year to get to the postseason. You've won in the postseason. Do what you do best.
That's right. And Dallas was ready for it and just stoned it every time. And Jimmy's like, if I'd not seen it on TV, we would not have spent 2 seconds working on it.
Yeah, I will give you
shovel. Was it a shovel pass?
It might have been.
That's what Nicholas is saying. Shovel pass, and that Butch Davis was on that staff. And Butch Davis is the guy.
I think Nicholas is right on both those. I think they were working on the timing of the little shovel right there, and he was like, they haven't run that all year. Why are they working on that at the Super Bowl?
So it's not an end all be all, but you guys will give me Vegas seems to be in front of everyone, right?
Yeah. I mean, they get some stuff wrong.
So, again, Kansas City, 27th against the run. Christian McCaffrey's at right now, mybookie.ag, his rushing yards, 90.5. Kansas City has not given up a 90-plus yard rusher in 15 straight games.
So they know that they're going to lean on the run.
McCaffrey's about to have a game.
About to have a game. If he stays healthy, he can get nicked up pretty early in the contest.
We've been saying that for 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we can, but he's got a history, and he's got a little back. He always seems to be getting that back treated on the sidelines.
Dude, he plays as hard as anyone. And you think about what's the average life expectancy career-wise for an NFL running back? Well, he's been doing it a long time.
Can I just tell you, do you think I'm good at picking games?
No, I do not. No.
Okay. I think San Francisco is going to win. But just let me tell you, there is one person on Reddit. Nobody knows his name, but they know his user. And he's picked the Super Bowl this will be the 17th straight Super Bowl he's picked on Reddit. And he is infamous. Hi, I'm the guy who has incorrectly picked the last 16 Super Bowl winners. Not point spread, just outright winners. He's incorrectly picked a winner 16 straight Super Bowls, and I'm back with my Super Bowl pick. I predict that the Kansas City Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. Don't overthink this. The better team will win. The Chiefs are an absolute machine in the playoffs. I bet against them twice in the Super Bowl in the past, and to quote The Who, I won't get fooled again.
Well, you guys know I can't pick a Super Bowl.
I do. Is this you, Lance, by chance?
I'm not as bad as 16 consecutive losses, but not much better. I had the Eagles last year.
But you always tell me
the winner.
You always tell me it's just as hard to pick the loser as it is to pick the winner, right?
Yeah, but the dog is 3-0 against the number of the last 3 Super Bowls. They've covered 13 of 22. Kansas City is your dog.
I could hear you talking about this to Brock yesterday, and you can go watch Lance's interview with Brock Heward at Disrupt the Media on YouTube. And I heard you talking about this, and I started thinking, there's an episode, I know you don't like Seinfeld, but there's an episode, is it George that just does the opposite of every inclination he has?
It's the opposite. If everything you do is wrong, then what you should do opposite.
Yeah.
Right.
So why don't you just handicap it and say, I'm doing the exact opposite of that?
It won't work like that. It's like Dunaway, when he started to overthink games, it's not the true Jimmy Landmine. I've still got to be authentic because I have gotten some right, and if I did that logic, and then I got it wrong again, I'd be so
hate
pissed.
yourself for it.
Yeah, so I would rather just keep doing what I'm doing. And
the true Jimmy Landmine is like LeBron James, the Miami, the 3 people in Miami with that dream team, getting points on the road in Indiana.
Yeah, every time they would go to Indiana, they'd be getting points. And that'd be like, how is this?
Yeah, and getting 2 points against Indiana
against the Pacers
with LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and that other guy.
I remember the Saints are only a 3-point favorite against my Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, those were the things that you were like, wait, whoa. Now you look at the numbers a little bit. You process it. I like the Jimmy spontaneous.
Yeah, but now I see. Wait a second. This team is, like yesterday I was able to see, I just knew Auburn was going to win the game. I just knew that was going to happen down at that arena. Just too big for, too tough of a place to win the game. But sometimes I'll see a line now and I'm like, oh, this is them suckering me. Now I sense them suckering me into it. Now, I'm able to see the, why is Miami getting points at Indiana? Those throw up red flags. They used to not throw up red flags.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this number is right. I think the total's right. I mean, the only prop that is really interesting is the McCaffrey, and I've started to go through all these props.
We'll talk with Furman on the props tomorrow.
Yeah, Furman joins us tomorrow. We'll talk more Super Bowl, maybe in this show, but definitely a little bit on tomorrow's show. When we come back, Let's see. Let's go with some college football lines that are out early.
Oh, I got some, Jim. Point spreads?
I know.
I have not seen any.
I know.
And we'll get you more from the locker room. Auburn's big win last night. Take some phone calls if you'd like. Barkley's comments from last night. All that still to come on the show as we move forward. Being brought to you by our friends at Odie's, where it was trivia night last night.
The question, who came first, Chris Rock or Mike Tyson?
I'm going to say Chris Rock older than you think. I'll go Chris Rock.
Dunaway?
He looked older in his last television special I saw because he had a little gray creeping in. I'm going to say Chris Rock is 50, and I'm going to say Mike Tyson is 51.
Well, you're way off.
Wow.
Chris Rock is 59 today.
59?
Yeah, Mike Tyson's 58.
Yeah, there you go. I got it, Chris Rock.
Oh, you did. That's Odie's, man.
That's Odie's Tavern. 2 locations. The original we were at, Crestline. We do that every single Wednesday night. The newest location in Homewood, they'll have live music on Friday and Saturday nights. Both locations. Get in there, enjoy some incredible food from Rodney Davis. Been doing it for more than 3 decades. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Stop in, see Will Haver and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Are you ready for a winning season in your finances? Legacy Credit Union is bringing you a slam dunk deal on their credit cards. Apply for their balance transfer and pay 0 balance transfer fees. That's right, there is no balance transfer fees, and they're offering a jaw-dropping 2.99% APR for the first 6 months. Whether you're looking to clear the cord of those holiday expenses or just wanting to streamline your finances, apply online today, legacycreditunion.com. Annual percentage rate, terms and conditions may apply. See credit union for details, federally insured by the NCUA.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
All right, we'll get to a phone call here, 205-734-0923, right after you hear from Jalen Williams and Janai Broom on Jalen's big dunk last night. That was sort of the cherry on top of Auburn's 99-81 win. Here is the picture of the dunk. Windmill goes down, and then The lights went out inside the arena after that, planned, not like at Coleman earlier this year. Here is the Auburn players reacting to that big breakaway dunk.
Jalen, your dunk at the end of the first half. When do you decide that you're going to go windmill on that? Because this is the second time you've done that.
When the ball's in the air.
When the ball's in the air.
Yeah, I think I almost broke my wrist.
Jen,
I'm jealous. Nah, listen, we talk about windmills all the time. I just learned how to windmill this year. Learned from him, But I always want to get an in-game windmill. He gets it. He gets 8 of them in the season,
Yeah, big moment last night, brought the crowd to their feet. Chris, is it Chandler or Chris? Who's next on the phone? Chandler is next with us. Chandler, welcome to the show. Auburn Superfan, it says. Is this Auburn Superfan 1 or Auburn Superfan 2?
This is Auburn Superfan, the OG. How are you doing, Brownie?
Oh, I am great, Chandler. Thank you. We talked to Auburn Superfan 2 yesterday. This is quite
live
the
on the
honor.
air.
We're getting number 1 today.
Yes, sir. Michael Floyd is a great friend. He's a wonderful guy. But I'm just calling in. I've started listening, I'll be honest, about 10 o'clock, and I've only heard football talking about the Super Bowl. And I'm wondering, why are we not talking basketball? I mean, Auburn destroyed Alabama last night in the Iron Bowl. UAB plays Florida Atlantic in a top 25 game at Bartow Arena tonight. Stanford is on ESPNU playing UNC Greensboro. Let's focus on some basketball, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Super Bowl is not a big deal. Not at all.
And neither is football.
Yeah, most viewed event in, I don't know, American history.
We did talk about your Super Bowl earlier today. We started off the show, the first 20 minutes with Auburn's win over Alabama.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, it was a great win, great atmosphere last night. I'm headed down to Gainesville tomorrow. Looking forward to trying to get a win for the first time there since 1996. So we'll see.
Yeah, another quad 1 opportunity for Auburn. They can start stacking those up if they can get the win. That's a tough spot, though.
That's right.
So tell me, Superfan.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about the team the rest of the way?
I feel pretty good about them.
Yeah, now give me 8. Got 8 games left. Give me a win-loss down the stretch here. How many do you lose in the final 8?
Well, looking at the next 5 games, that's going to be some 5 tough ones. We go to Gainesville, then we got South Carolina at home, Kentucky at home, and then we go to at Georgia, and then what's the one?
Tennessee. That's a tough one.
And at Tennessee.
Yeah.
So at Tennessee, that will by far be the toughest game. And then I honestly think the one that scares me the most is Saturday at Gainesville, because at home I feel very confident about Auburn playing South Carolina and Kentucky, but at Gainesville, that place is just eating our lunch. Since 1996, so that'll be a tough one, but I'm excited about it, and we'll see how that goes. But have y'all talked to any about UAB and their big game?
We did yesterday.
We have Andy Kennedy on our show every week.
Jim's got you there. Yeah, Andy Kennedy was on.
Yeah, he's on our show.
Well, I should have started listening earlier.
You should start listening every day. That's the problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say War Eagle, and love y'all's show, and looking forward to hearing more basketball talk.
All right. Thank you, Chandler. I'll give you some right now. Alabama. Well, Tennessee's a 1 seed, according to Lenardi. Does that surprise you guys?
Oh, so a new bracketology?
Yeah, here are his 1s.
So Tennessee bumps to a 1 line. They were 2 earlier this week?
Yep, they're up. Purdue, UConn, Houston, Tennessee. Those are his 1s. Any surprise there?
Give them again.
Purdue, UConn, Tennessee.
Houston,
no.
In that order. Purdue, UConn, Houston, Tennessee. Those are technically his order. His 2s are Kansas, or wait a minute, in this order: Arizona, North Carolina, Marquette, Kansas.
Nope.
His 3s in this order: Alabama, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa State.
Wow, so Alabama actually moved closer to the 2 line than they were earlier this week. I think they were 10th, and you got them at 9 now?
That's where Lenardi has them, yeah.
Wow.
And his 4s are, in this order: Auburn, Baylor, Duke, Dayton. So Alabama would be the next 2 up, and Auburn would be the next 3 up, the way Lenardi has it laid out in his S-curve.
So a lot of basketball to be played.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. 3. So Auburn is what overall? The overall number
13.
13. So 3 in the top 13 seeds in the country right now from the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. Amber alerts are going off all over the place up here right now.
I know. I just got one, but mine's not.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's the deal there. That's the deal from Lenardi.
Yeah. Rick says, anyone excited about softball season? It starts today across softball season. Yes.
Let's go back to these college football odds. I got college football odds. That's the thing I'm most excited about right now.
And let's not forget, this is our last week of football.
I know. This is it, Lance, until August.
Well, before we get to these lines, I'm going to tell you about Legacy, but can we get Forrester's microphone? I know Taylor was excited at the game last night about this Auburn win. Forrester, we have a graphic built for a caller all of a sudden. What happened?
Chandler's a buddy of mine. So
so you know him.
I'm familiar with Chandler.
Oh, okay.
Auburn Superfan 1. OG Auburn Superfan.
Yeah, this is like
Scott. I mean, as course Scott being
it wasn't just ready to go. I made it on the fly.
Yeah,
I know
you did.
I know you do it very fast, but you got to remember we're in Birmingham, Alabama. This is not Montgomery. We can't have too much Auburn on the show.
Scott, is Jim worse after wins or losses?
Yes.
Well, I think it's a loss.
Super condescending after losses.
Well, I'm just saying, all of a sudden, I mean, we've got so much social media coverage of the win last night. Wow. And now we've got graphics built for Auburn callers.
You're right. We really barely cover Alabama.
We've sold out, Scott.
Yeah, thank God it's an everything school. So we get this year round.
I mean, you get condescending, Jim, after losses. I think, Scott, if I were an Auburn if I were
that Coleman?
Yeah, Scott's giving you some Coleman Coliseum treatment.
By the way, my computer has died.
Oh, no, my God.
Yeah.
Will we be able to finish the show, you think?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank God I take
copious notes.
I take a lot of hard paper notes.
Rockstar, you know why that computer's dead? That thing's been cooking since 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, that one.
Y'all are still in the sack.
I know.
Well, I think I burned it up last night on our basketball postgame show where we talked all basketball last night.
We did.
Yeah. All right, let's get to these lines after I tell you our friends at Legacy, legacycreditunion.com. I'll see if I can do this by memory. You have a high-interest credit card, and that amount is really high there, and the interest rate on it's 23, 24, 25, 28%. You transfer that balance over to Legacy right now, and you get 2.99% APR, annual percentage rate, for 6 months. Gives you a fighting chance to pay off that debt and get back the right way. And all new purchases, 8.90% with our friends at Legacy. Check them out online. Get all the details at legacycreditunion.com. legacycreditunion.com. Federally insured by the NCUA. 9 local branches. Get details all right there. Brownie, betting lines for some of the big college football games coming up after National Signing Day yesterday now.
Yeah, these are our first look at these out of FanDuel Sportsbook. So these are available at FanDuel. I'm sure, Lance, most of these would be limited wagering, right? They would
you probably got $1,000 max on most of these right now.
Yeah, Florida State at Georgia Tech. I only bring that up because it's the week 0 game. It is played in Dublin, Ireland, and Florida State's a 12.5-point favorite in that one.
I would have said more.
I've got some totals, too.
I would have gone 14.5.
Would you now? 52.5 is your total in that game. I found this one interesting. North Dakota State is at Colorado, week 1.
I would say Colorado is a 3.5-point favorite.
I'd have
Wow,
about a
that
7.
low?
Yeah.
I'd have about 7.
It's 8.5. I thought 8.5 was low. You got it at 3?
This reminds me.
North Dakota State's still FCS, right? They have not moved up.
But you guys remember when they played at Kansas State to start a season like in 2014 or 15?
Yeah.
And the number was about 7, and they actually won that game.
Week 1 SEC game. Here you go. We got some SEC games here. Week 1 SEC games. Texas A&M playing host to Notre Dame.
A&M that's about a pick probably. A&M maybe 1.
I've got A&M at 2.5.
1.5. Lance is closer. Total of 50.5 for that game in College Station. These totals kind of seem low, to be honest with you, for college football games. Clemson at Georgia. Now, we had seen this one. I can't remember who had this number out. DraftKings, somebody had this number out.
I think it was FanDuel that they had some really quick ones right after the national championship.
Yeah, I would put this right around 2 touchdowns, 14 and a half.
12 and a half. Yeah. So you're fairly close on that one. 48 and a half is your total there. That is actually not in Athens. It is a neutral site game. And that's what stunned me. I remember the first time we looked at this one.
Right.
Was that a neutral site game, and Clemson's almost a 2-touchdown dog to Georgia. In Athens, I could have believed it.
But it's Atlanta, so...
Yeah, but that's nothing like playing in Athens.
But remember, you made the point that, Jim, it's not like Clemson's that far away from Atlanta either.
Yeah, tons of Clemson fans in Atlanta.
2 hours from Clemson, hour from Athens.
LSU at Lance's beloved USC. Now, again, this is a Vegas game, so this is neutral site. LSU at USC.
I would say LSU is going to be a 4.5-point favorite.
I'll go 7.5.
LSU favored by 6 in this game. Now, here's a total for you: 66.5.
Yeah.
We ain't got much defense in that one.
Based on the defenses we saw, the lasting image of both LSU and USC, this seems like a shootout.
They were the two bigger name bad defenses in college football last year.
Feels weird saying this, but another SEC game. Texas is at Michigan.
Yeah.
Week 2 game here.
I'd have Texas -2.
Yeah, I think Texas is going to be a slight favorite. I think 2 to 3 is about the number.
2.5, total of 49.5. We've seen a look ahead on this one, Georgia at Alabama. We talked to Furman about this one, I remember, when this number was out.
Yeah. This is the one I'm most interested in, just to see how much it's changed, because when we saw this, it was after Nick Saban had left, I remember, but it wasn't after all the players had left.
Well, it was after Saban had left, because I remember us saying if Saban is in this game, his record versus Kirby would certainly factor into this.
Yeah, I'm going to say Georgia 3.
3.5, total of 53.5. So I don't think it's changed all that much. Yeah. Michigan at Washington. Michigan's 11.5 at Washington. Ohio State at Oregon.
I would
two
list
favorites in the Big Ten.
Ohio State's a better team. I would list Ohio State 2.5.
No, Ohio State's not the better team. Oregon's got the better quarterback in Dylan Gabriel and a better defense, in my opinion. Caleb Downs changed that a little bit. I'm going to go Oregon.
Oregon better defense than Ohio State?
I think it will be this year. I'm going to go Oregon -1.
Jim is correct. Oregon is favored in this game early at FanDuel by 1.5, 57.5 your total there at Altson. Again, can't believe I'm saying this. SEC game at the Texas State Fair, Texas at Oklahoma. Texas is a 10.5-point favorite, total of 60.5. One of the biggest games in the SEC, maybe your 2 favorites, and the voting is done. Georgia at Texas.
Georgia at Texas. I'm still going to list Georgia as a favorite, too.
I'm going to say Georgia 1.5.
1.5, 55.5 your total. Georgia at Ole Miss.
Georgia is going to be a 5-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm going to say skinnier number than thought, 6.5.
Skinnier number than I would have thought, and both of you think 3.5. FanDuel has Georgia favored 3.5 at Ole Miss.
It'll be bumped by then.
What was that game in Athens this year?
Because this is what you would call a big game for Lane Kiffin.
I would call it
against a ranked team.
And he wins all those?
No.
54.5 is your total. 2 more here. Alabama at LSU.
I would say LSU is going to be 1.5.
LSU is the favorite. I'm going to say 1.5 is a good number, but I'm going to say it bumped up to 2.5.
2.5. Jim is correct. LSU favored 2.5, total of 59.5. And then the game at the end of the year.
Alabama-Auburn?
Michigan at Ohio State.
Michigan at Ohio State. I would say Ohio State is going to be an 8.5-point favorite.
That's a good number. I'm going to say still a little shine on the national championship and the uniform. I'm going to say it's 7.5.
7 is your total in that game, or is your number in that game.
Yeah. All those changes you get closer.
Oh, it'll be it'll be double digits by the time they play that game.
100%. Just like it'll be much bigger after they see Georgia on the field with Ole Miss. It'll be a little bit bigger with Carson Beck out there. All right, some early lines from FanDuel on that one. When we come back, Rockstar has our 4 downs today, and more from the locker room that we've sprinkled in throughout of Auburn's win last night against Alabama, 99-81. That's coming up on the show that's being brought to you in part by our friends at Hemp Hill Services, LT.
Yeah, make that call today. Make sure your HVAC unit ready to keep up with this changing weather. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services, trust and name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or online, hemphillservices.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified fit specialist will use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trussville.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Back with you on the next round as we get ready. Nate Oates sort of second-guessing himself after the loss last night down in Tuscaloosa. This is him after, what was the final, do you off the top of your head remember the paints and the points? Just a
Points of the paint, 24 to
points in the paint.
Something like that.
It was a lot to not as many as you would thought. And Nate Oates afterwards second-guessing the way he coached this basketball game.
We didn't want to double because I saw other teams that doubled and gave up a bunch of threes to them. In hindsight, as bad as we lost, maybe we should have doubled more and then tried to rotate around and try to take the 3 away. They only hit 5 threes tonight. Problem is they went to the free throw line 50 times and shot 40 out of 50 free throws, and their bigs 9 for 10, 9 for 11 between their starting 4 and 5 and Williams and Broom, and they're both good. They're 2 of the better. They may have the best front court when you look at a 4 and a 5 in the league, and we didn't do a very good job of it. And part of it's we started small and they punished us, and we got to have a better answer for it if we're going to continue to start small like that.
Yeah, Alabama is further ahead than I thought they were going to be this season, record-wise.
Based on where we saw them earlier, then when they won 10 of 11, I would agree with you.
Yeah, but and you made this point earlier, when you get to the tournament, which Alabama will be in, Auburn will be in, Brown was talking about the seeds, I think there are more teams that can be a bad...
Lunsford's mic was on, by the way.
That sounded like a cat getting gutted.
You have no idea.
Yeah. That was you, Rockstar, or was that
was Lunsford.
He sneezed so hard he turned his own mic on.
That's hard to do.
when you get to the tournament, matchups are so important. It just feels like the way Alabama is built with the lack of size inside, that there are more teams that they'll be not matched up with well out there than Auburn. Auburn can beat you a multitude of different ways, it seems.
Oh, yeah. You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think Alabama almost has to go on one of these Loyola Marymount runs where they're just so hot behind if they want to go really deep in this tournament.
I mean, that's what is so scary, though, is that
because there's not a post presence.
Their defense is at times so bad that, I mean, Auburn scored 99 last night. And you look at what Auburn did the second half at Ole Miss, and in this game, their last three quarters, they are lighting up the scoreboard.
I told Dunaway last night, the points in the paint, it was a 14-point spread, so that's my apologies, 40-26. I told Dunaway last night, Lance, and I would not have said this preseason, but I think it's 100% true right now. If you could, Alabama misses Charles Bediako far more than they miss Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, get his reaction to this.
Well, I mean, and look, I'm not saying, if they had Charles Bediako, I'm just saying it's the obvious thing they're missing is a Charles Bediako.
Yeah, I think he would definitely be a difference maker. And where is Bediako right now?
I mean, I think he's playing G League, right?
And I think he had an injury he's done for the year.
And Miller, Alabama's still getting the offense. They don't need more offense. They need more defense. And their defense has fallen way off, and Bediako would fix a little bit of that. I don't know that it would 100% fix their issues defensively, but it fixed a little bit of that. I never thought that they would miss Bediako more than they miss Brandon Miller, but 100% they do.
Yeah.
Because they get pushed around on the inside, like Nate was talking about. Okay, so you double Broom. What's Jalen Williams going to do to you?
My only pushback is I thought Brandon Miller was really good defensively, too. So he does play
That's true.
better
I'm not factoring that
defensively
in as
than
much.
some of the guys who are on the court right now.
That is true.
The Hornets suck, but that guy is making it look easy.
Yeah, right now. JD, he's had, 4 or 5 straight 20-plus point games.
I think
JD
Rookie of the Week, back-to-back weeks.
Is in Huntsville. He's next with us. Hey, JD, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
JD.
I believe JD may have given up the phone.
Yeah, okay.
Handed the phone to somebody.
With that in mind, let's jump to our 4 downs then. Brought to you by our friends at Slice. LT, tell us about Slice.
4 great locations for you. Get in and see the Bajaya brothers. The late Jeff Bajaya is one that created this incredible concept. Local pizza, local ingredients from the Hot Mama, the Soul Pie. You're going to absolutely love it. It is Slice Birmingham, slicebirmingham.com. 4 locations for you. Soon to be that 5th in Homewood. Get in, go see our friends lunch or dinner at Slice.
First down.
What is the single most you'll understand when you're older thing?
Why daddy needs to spend some time with mommy.
I think kids probably realize that at an early age.
I don't know.
You'll understand it when you're older.
I had a friend recently tell me that his son, who I know, walked in on Mommy and Daddy wrestling one time. And he's like, that's something that's hard to come back from right
Ooh,
there.
really
Yes.
is.
Yeah, I would say.
I think he tried to make his comeback later that night. And the wife was like, if you think that's still happening tonight, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It may be weeks.
That's right. I
Maybe therapy.
I got to get my mind right.
Yeah. School is not as bad as you think it is once you get out in the work world.
That's true.
Like school, you're never going to be around people your age for that amount of time ever again. Like from elementary, middle school, high school to college. Embrace it, enjoy it, but nobody will believe it.
With very few pending obligations. I mean, you feel like everything is scheduled out for you, but there's not a whole lot you really have to do at that age.
Yeah, and I mean, for most people, and look, situation by situation, but you really don't have a ton of responsibility as a kid. So enjoy it. And, my little guy, when he's about to go back after a break, is like, I just don't want to go to school. And I'm like, enjoy it.
I couldn't figure out why my parents didn't always want to take me to the ballpark if I didn't have a game, or to the skating rink, or to wherever all the kids were hanging out. As a parent, I get it now.
Yeah.
Right? Just, God, I got to drive over.
Can't wait till you're 60.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking like I'm getting out of your hair for 3 hours, but I get it now.
Oh, I'm just now back to eating Chick-fil-A because, the kids get to a certain age where they can't drive, and you ask them, what do you want to eat? And they're always answering Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
And I'm like, I cannot eat Chick-fil-A again right now. I took years off of Chick-fil-A. It's a great product. But I just, for so many years with the kids at that age, I just could not eat it anymore.
Second down.
What is your go-to comfort show?
Mine is Curb. I mean, I can go back, and it's one of those things where you can jump in now 12 seasons. You can jump in any season if you've watched it, even if you haven't watched it. And it's just, I know it's a running show, but I can go back any season, any episodes. It's great.
I went back and picked up. It's amazing that your streaming service remembers exactly where you were. I can't tell you. I mean, it's been over a year since I watched the last episode, and I was in the middle of season 1, episode 6, where they have a wire in their backyard.
Called The Wire.
Yeah, and it's called The Wire, and they have to get rid of the wire. And there's a
What
lawyer.
will you finish first, the Bond catalog, or do you think it will be Curb?
I'm not. I don't. It may be Curb. But my comfort show though is The West Wing, because it just made America feel like we eventually all will work together, even though we're on different sides of the aisle. And I really wish it was more us all working together and making America good or great, however do you want to describe it again.
Mine is Steve Carell era Office, and both of these got mentioned very quickly in the chat room, or The Family Guy. I just love that The Family Guy is completely irreverent across the board, and it's never been canceled. Like, nobody can get pissed about it because they make fun of absolutely everything.
Third down.
What's one thing that almost everyone predicted wrong?
Y2K.
Y2K.
It is Y2K.
I beeped it in. Y2K, man. If you didn't live through it, I mean, Today Show, nightly news, and by the way, people don't even watch those things anymore. But there used to be this hour in the evening or a half hour in the evening where there was national news on every network for you kids who are over the air television, and I mean, they covered it like it was a chance it was the end of the world.
Yeah.
Well, and the Mayan calendar a little bit for people that really believe in 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, when is the next apocalypse coming?
There's reports every day.
Yeah.
24, 25, 27.
We just had a huge asteroid. The closest one, it was the size of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
That passed the closest to Earth as it has in history the other day, and we didn't act like it was with Y2K.
Yeah, but it was still probably a solar system away. Gary,
it was only 1.7 million miles away.
That it? That little chin music
is right in the chat room. The COVID thing was a disaster.
Yeah. A lot of people got a lot of stuff
we
wrong.
overreacted a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I would say Y2K, the Aztec calendar or the Mayan calendar, whatever the crap it was, didn't really. I never really bought into that.
Yeah, I don't really trust civilizations that are now extinct.
Yeah.
Fourth down.
That's a great point.
Have you ever been sexually harassed by a woman?
I have.
Would you call a woman I had just met grabbing my butt sexual harassment?
Yeah, that counts.
Okay, then yes.
Were you at work?
I was not.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at the Floribama, it doesn't count. If you're at work,
why is it
that's
not
being
counted as a
sexual harassed.
That is what is really, everybody talks about equality in this society.
Yeah.
Like, I've had my junk grabbed quite a few times at bars.
It's my bad.
Yeah.
But if I grab some chick's cooch, I'm probably doing time. I'm losing my job. I'm losing my family.
You
I'm
don't
doing
understand
time.
the difference there, though?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You're far more powerful than the female. There's nothing she can do. You can overwhelm a female.
Wait, what?
You don't think you're stronger than a female?
It's not like, if you grab somebody's cooch, you're going to take them to the ground there. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same act.
But it's
1,000% the same act.
It's the same act, but it's a more powerful person doing it to one sex and a less powerful sex doing it to the other.
There is no difference.
There is 1,000%
There is
difference
no
in
difference.
the power. Lance,
Oh, there's a difference in the power. I mean, but it could be some meek guy.
Yeah.
It could be Feinbaum getting his junk grabbed.
Feinbaum is still stronger than 90% of females.
I guarantee you 50% of women at clubs could whip Feinbaum's ass. I mean, and that's not like a shot at Feinbaum.
Oh.
No, but I disagree.
No.
I mean, I think a chick grabbing a guy's junk and a guy grabbing a chick's cooch is the same thing.
I think it's the same act.
This is when Dunaway does clam up. Anything controversial, Dunaway will not comment on.
I don't want to get into an hour discussion about it, but I disagree with you.
I mean, literally.
How do you disagree with me?
I disagree with you because I think as men, we are a dominant sex, and we should not treat women that way.
I don't think you should treat women that way.
But should a woman grab your junk?
Well, I believe that usually when that happens,
answer is no,
I
by the
am
way.
not complaining about it, right? Like in my history of when that has happened, that usually has turned into a pretty good night that I'm not bitching about it. On the flip side of that, when that's happened to a woman, that's usually not happening something they want to happen. Whether I wanted it to happen or not happen, I'm not clamming up here, I'm just giving you my opinion. When that happened to me, say at, 5 Points Music Hall, and we're watching a band, and they reach back and they start grabbing mine, I took that as a positive, and we started kissing, and it turned into a really good night I was looking forward to. A lot of times when it happens to a woman, it doesn't end up turning into something they're looking forward to, and that is the difference.
Okay, all I am saying is neither one. It's if we want equality in this country, how in the hell can you grab some guy's junk and not be punished for it?
You're 100% right about that. You're 100% right about that.
Yeah.
Well, he is, Jim.
Yeah,
you can dismiss him, but he's right.
You're the one that you bitch and complain about equality.
And I don't bitch and
you
complain
have this
about
equality guilt.
I will go back to while we're wrapping the show up. We've got a guest coming up. There was a lot of things that were wrong in the coverage of the pandemic, but there were hundreds of thousands of people that died during the pandemic. So I disagree on your opinion of that a lot too, but I never get into that either.
Well, you could. I mean, we shut down the country for no reason. For no reason.
Yeah, but when they were making those decisions,
we shut down the country for no reason.
It was a Republican president.
Okay, we got it wrong.
Making the decision to do that at the time. The guy's about to be president again. When he made the decision to do that at the time,
we got it wrong.
He was making it with the best information he had at the time.
I'm just saying
you don't know
got it
what's
wrong,
happening
though.
when you go back 6 months later and look at it in the rearview mirror. We could all be undefeated coaches if we know what the hell is going to happen. Top of the hour here. Now that I've been unclammed, we talk basketball when we come back.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Legacy Credit Union has the ultimate game changer for your finances. With Engaged Checking, you can earn 3% APY on balances up to $15,000. You heard correctly, 3% APY. But it's not just about scoring with high yields. With Engaged Checking, you can get paid up to 2 days early. That means your paycheck, Social Security, tax refund, you name it, you get it early. So stop sitting on the sidelines and get in the game with Engaged Checking. Sign up today at LegacyCreditUnion.com or visit any 9 Greater Birmingham area branches. APY is annual percentage yield. Terms and conditions may apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Auburn wins last night over Alabama 99-81. Tonight, number 20 Florida Atlantic at UAB here in town, 8 o'clock down at Bartow. By the way, the Owls have never won a game in Bartow despite their trip to the Final Four last year. Andy Kennedy on the show yesterday if you want to hear our conversation with AK about the Blazers.
All right, let's talk some basketball from last night. Dalen Cuff was in the studio for ESPN. You saw him during the game at halftime as well as Auburn beat Alabama last night down in Neville. What is up, Dalen? Welcome into the show. How are you? You're muted. That's how you are.
Hold on. That's all. We're better. Sorry about that. My bad.
All good. It's all good. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. An impressive win by Auburn. Let's just start there with the obvious that that was an impressive win, Auburn's best win of the season thus far.
Yeah, it was a really complete performance. I do think what's interesting is I think Alabama's good. I think the computers like Alabama more than I do. I think that obviously the modern way of basketball is how they're playing. Threes, layups, free throws. Get the whole mathematical equation to it. The problem with them is I do think as far as their defensive numbers, sometimes they're really good because their perimeter defense can be great. But when you have an advantage, and I said this many times last night, like Janai Broome or a lot of guys able to get into the paint, whether they bigs or guards, that causes some problems. And I do think when they've played some of the better teams, we've seen Alabama's schedule has been brutal. And we have seen other teams be able to exploit them, be able to score in a high clip, partially because of the pace, but also because their defense at times can be exploited. I thought Auburn in the first outing started the game strong, played through Broome, and then fell in love with chucking some threes. And you can fall in love with the pace of the game. And Alabama gets you playing at that pace. They're good to make chuck threes. They're going to make more than you are. They're going to beat you at their game. When Auburn was able to play fast on the defensive side of the ball, and then offensively, old John Wooden, quote, be quick but don't hurry. Like they were fast, they were moving, but they weren't rushed. They were playing to their strength. They were playing to their advantages, whether getting the ball to Broome on the block or in the painted area or getting there on the bounce. And once they did that, they dominated. And guys, let's be real. There were like 10 million free throws to take. 85 free throws. So the last 18 minutes of like real time, we moved on to the 9 o'clock games. Like I was like, this game is over. We gotta focus on other stuff because it was wild.
You've seen some great home court advantages throughout college basketball. Everybody points to, obviously, Fog Island Fieldhouse, Cameron Indoor, but Auburn's 12-0 at Neville. And that just, it seems like I was watching at a restaurant last night, but it comes through the TV. It just seems like an incredible, one of the best home court advantages in all of college basketball.
It is second to none. And I don't say that because I'm on with you guys and you guys cover these teams. You see it all the time, but it's better because honestly, the environment is wild. The crowd is great. But again, how they play when they come at you, it waves and you can feel it's like you cannot stop it. It's like a tidal wave. That's where that crowd really takes hold, is because of the style of play, the players, how they're coached by Bruce Pearl and what he wants them to do. And then you have that crowd environment. It's a whole different thing. They were laying 5.5 points yesterday, and that was one of the better bets on the board, I thought. Again, I like Alabama, don't love them. And in that building, Auburn is truly special. Auburn can do something special this year. They can go back to a Final Four. I think they're very capable of that, and they continue to show that in some big moments.
Early in my career, coaches would tell me they started out with a deeper bench, and as it got through the season, it would get trimmed down to like 9 guys, and maybe by the time we have longer TV timeouts in March Madness, that maybe we'll get down to a 7 or an 8 person rotation. That's not what Auburn is. And I want you as a player, former player, to talk to me about how you have to be made up DNA-wise as a player at Auburn to sort of handle almost a line shift of substitutions all the time.
I think it's built into you through the course of the offseason and in early season practices. Part of it is when you're playing on a team where you see the depth of talent. So you know that all these guys can add something to it. It's different when let's be honest, if you're busting a guy's ass in practice all the time, you're like, wait, why am I giving up minutes to this dude all the time? I'm giving him buckets. Those things are hard. But when they're going back and forth, and those practices are high-level practices with a lot of guys that can play, you know how many guys can contribute. So you realize that your strength's in numbers. Obviously, you're following your leader, too. If Bruce Pearl's telling you this and showing you this, whether it be through practice film, game film, analytics, like there's not a huge drop-off. Different guys have different strengths and weaknesses, no doubt. But there's not a big drop-off. I mean, you look like a team. You mentioned Fog Allen earlier, Kansas. They go to their 6th and 7th man. It's precipitously falling off a cliff. Like it's a whole different level of skill. That doesn't happen with Auburn. So you actually you're understanding as a group, we're playing into our strengths. So Florida State and Leonard Hamilton has done this for years when they were having a great run basically from like 16 to like 22 of playing 9, 10, 11 guys and also putting guys into lottery picks. And like that was kind of the same model of saying, guys, we're going to play by our strengths and numbers. Give me everything you got. I want you to be fully gassed, because that's true too. As a player, you will downshift at times. You will try to save some energy here and there to make sure you can go as long as possible, knowing that you're going to come out because somebody else is capable of doing a very similar job to you, gives you the free license to give everything you got for that 2 to 5 minute window, and you're going to get spelled, and you're going to get back in, and you're going to have your time.
Dalen Cuff is with us from ESPN. You can follow him on Twitter at Dalen Cuff. You saw him last night during the game. You'll see him all season long there. So do you think Tennessee, and there's a difference between best team and team that might go the deepest in the tournament, but do you think Tennessee is the best team in the SEC?
That's a great way of setting up your question. I think Tennessee is best built to win this league as currently constituted.
Right.
I will say this, though. I'm big on Auburn, as I've just said it multiple times. Auburn does have the home game and does not return that game to Tennessee. That may ultimately be the difference in the end. And I think partly, as an ESPN employee, we are partly to blame for this. When you are picked to be high in your league, your schedule is going to be harder. When you are Tennessee and Kentucky, you're going to play twice. When there's certain teams, Bama was picked as a team that's going to be high, you're going to play some of the better teams multiple times. Your schedule reflects that. Auburn didn't totally dodge the bullet, but getting that game at home is huge, to say the least. I do believe they have to go to Rupp, which, given how Kentucky defends, it's not the same challenge as it is going to Knoxville.
Let me quickly say it's actually the opposite. They play Kentucky at home and they're at Tennessee.
Auburn.
Yes.
Yeah, for Auburn, yeah.
Okay, so I have it backwards then. My fault.
Yeah,
So
that's okay.
But they do only have the one. They do only have the one meeting,
That's
though.
right. Yeah.
Alabama plays them twice with each other. Yes.
So I do think that ultimately you're going to have a situation where Tennessee is better suited to win enough games to do this thing. And I think because partially the road environments in this conference are great, to win on the road is really, really hard. And I think the defensive capability that Tennessee has can travel a little bit better, a little bit more consistently. But I think we're looking at like a one-game spread. I think it's going to be a great race in the SEC down the stretch.
You know, the surprise team is obviously South Carolina. They've won 6 straight games for the first time since 1997. Lamont Paris is doing an incredible job with this team. They beat Kentucky during that 6-game stretch by 17. But if I asked you more staying power that can go deeper in March, would you go South Carolina or Kentucky?
Excellent question. I lean Kentucky because I lean offense a little bit, and they can overwhelm you. And I do think there'll be times that if South Carolina gets into their margin of error, let's say, is smaller. They're going to have to at times probably rock fight you out in some tough games. Depends on your matchups. Always matter in the tournament. It's cliche, it's trite, but true. They're going to have to find a way to win games, and they have really good players that have continued to improve the course of the year. And Lamont Paris I think he's the favorite for National Coach of the Year right now. Like, he's doing that good of a job. But still, they are a defensively built team. They control the tempo of the game. They grind you one of the slowest tempos in the country. And where that's going to leave is a margin for error that's sometimes smaller. More possessions. Kentucky can overwhelm you in time offensively. Sometimes the pros show up, and they got a lot of pros on that team. And sometimes that can be the difference. So I do think in terms of a matchup-wise, Kentucky may be more likely to get you to a second weekend than South Carolina. But the matchups will be huge, and that doesn't take away from anything that the Gamecocks have done.
Now that Tennessee has done this to Alabama and Auburn has done it to Alabama down low, what are some things we can look for from Nate Oates and that coaching staff down the stretch for Alabama to try to massage and cover up their lack of defense and their lack of physicality inside the paint? What are some ways they maybe can cover that up? Is it just
it's tough to cover it up because sometimes the challenge really is personnel based. Like, sometimes you can work on things schematically, but when you're dealing with guys that are really good players and they have a physically imposing advantage on you, that's hard to handle. Now, you can try to double at different times. Now, different personnel matters. Can you double? Will you double? and which way you double. You're going guard to guard, big to big. Like, you can work on some things, and each game's going to matter. The good thing for Bama is there aren't a ton of teams that have like that. I mean, Janai Broom's a top 20 player in the country. Like, their guys aren't just growing on trees. So not every team has a guy like that that's going to come in and dominate a game. But there's ways you have to by which do it as a group. Ball pressure has to be better, so you can't get into the post. Your post defense, doing your work early, has to be better. And then, like I said before, you can look at doubling and stuff, but in today's college basketball, you're not dying to double to put yourself in rotation. You'd have to be forced into that. You put it in your package. Maybe you wheel it out for certain games, but ultimately, you don't want that to happen. Also, we'll say sometimes their ability to play at pace, though, is their best defense, because you can fall in love with trying to get up and down. Especially this league is the most entertaining league in the country, and I don't even think it's close. Like, night in and night out, you're having fun, quality games, but teams that are playing up and down. You've got high-level athletes. You've got probably maybe more pros in this league than any other league. So there's a lot to watch here, and you can fall in love with that with Alabama. And if you're playing their game at their pace, where they're in flow and they're getting drives, paint touches, kicks for threes, paint touches, layups, or getting the free throw line, you get caught up, and next thing you know, you're down big, and it's hard to come back on those guys. So sometimes their offense will be their best defense.
All right. Again, I'll preface my question by saying there is a difference between more entertaining and best. Do you agree with Chuck that the Big 12 is the best conference, though? He said it during the telecast last night.
I do, yeah. Chuck, yeah. The Big 12 is the best league, and the reason for that is it is the depth of teams. It is the amount of teams that are going to play in the NCAA tournament, and they didn't just get that. I think there's a narrative going around right now, which may have been started by some folks that I work with, and has been rolling downhill about the Big 12, and they're playing nobody, and their cupcakes, and their net rankings and stuff. Guys, just because you play a weak net rank, like teams that are lower net ranked, you also have to beat them. And scoring margin does factor in. They're beating the doors off the teams. Like, when you look at the ACC, they're over here now. People have gotten hold of that theory and narrative on their end and saying maybe we shouldn't schedule so hard. The problem is Florida State loses to Lipscomb. Loyola Marymount beats Clemson last year. Clemson loses to UMass Lowell last year, I think it was. Those things can't happen. And the difference in the Big 12 is they're good teams that didn't happen. Oklahoma State, fine. But Oklahoma State is being proven out to be, unfortunately, I love Mike Boynton, the worst team in that league. That's like the one team that's like a truly weak team. But the Big 12, by and large, you have tons of veteran teams, tons of older players have transferred in that league, very well coached, very physical, and have some guys that can really make plays. You have pros in different spots and a lot of very, very good, maybe not pros, but I mean, Max Asmus has scored, 3,400 points or something like that right now? Like, you got guys that can score, and Texas is a team that's up and down, but you have talent across that league, and you've got physicality and depth across the league. So I do think those are the best conference, and I think it's oversimplifying the matter to say they played a bunch of cupcakes and they beat them. That's really not what's happening here, because when you watch the games, these are high-level games. You can see them playing in the tournament and having some wins, just like the SEC. Again, there's 8 probably teams, maybe 9 going from this league. Like, there ain't many from the ACC. There's 3, 4, 5. 5 would be max. Pac-12 is getting maybe 2. So you're looking at the balance of power being in the Big 12, the SEC, and ironically, the Mountain West when it comes to the tournament bids.
All right, follow Dalen Cuff on Twitter at that very name right there. He makes it very easy for you on Twitter, and you can see him on ESPN and ESPN2 throughout the remainder of the basketball season. Very much appreciate the time.
Anytime, guys. Be well.
All right, you too. Take care. He was with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
By the way he was framed up there, all I could get on his bookshelf, that red book, was the word tender. I wanted to see what the rest of the title was, like tenderness. I don't,
Tender for Dummies.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. It was a red book.
I didn't notice it. Was it TINDER or TENDER?
I think it was TINDER.
All right, let me rewind the video.
I was like, I'm interested to know what's in that book.
What was the movie Tender Mercies? What was it with Robert Duvall where he won Best Actor?
By the way, it is TINDER.
Oh, I know. That's all I stared at the whole thing. I was like, I was going to ask him at the end. And I said, it's going to end up being Jimmy Awkward in the chat room, so I didn't want to go to that. Hey, the show being brought to you in part by Dr. B, LT's hair guy.
Dr. Beckenstein, the name everyone said when I started to thin out. I was asking around, where do I go? Dr. B has been doing it for more than 20 years. Women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316. You can always go online, t3hair.net. Again, since I went to see Dr. B almost a couple of years ago, my hair has more than doubled in thickness. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time. That is it. Make the call, schedule the consultation, tell them the next round sent you. 205-319-0316.
Rockstar, give me cut number 2. Bruce Pearl has talked a lot in this show today and leading into it about just how good Jalen Williams and Janai Broome are. In cut number 2, Rocky, we get a little bit more of. Did we done 2 yet already? And I didn't mark it off. Do you know? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, here he is talking about just how good Jalen and Janai played last night and what they could be down the stretch.
The road trip to Mississippi State and Alabama, Jalen didn't play very well. He recognizes that he's one of our best players and one of the better players in the league. And so if we're gonna win, he's got to be able to deliver. And I think he really has. Both Janai and Jay Will have got that inside-out dimension, offensively and defensively. They can guard inside, they can guard in the perimeter. They can score inside, they can score in the perimeter. And they're good passers. I did at the beginning of the year, I did talk about the fact that I thought we had pretty good front line. Probably, if we look me up, would say I think we have one of the better front lines in our league. I think I said that. Didn't get a lot of talk about it. I think Jalen Williams and Janai Broome could get some discussions about front lines in the country now.
And we did play that earlier, but to bring that back up, their defense can get extended out, and Janai's ability to hit the 3 ball. But Jalen, and I think we talked about this at some point yesterday before the game, that Jalen's 2 worst games of the SEC season were their 2 losses. When he is scoring like he is, this becomes a team that gets back to our conversation about them possibly going to the Final Four. So we sit here today in the loss column with Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, and South Carolina, all with 2 losses, with 8 games to play for most everybody else. Tennessee has 9 conference games left. Barkley's comments last night got a lot of social media chatter. The conversation not just about the Big 12 being better than the SEC, but also about Auburn in the rivalry, which is the one that I was watching, and I was sort of, cringing a little bit. Auburn, Charles is such a good Auburn man, and he kept comparing Auburn. He goes to Carl and Jimmy that we're like Oklahoma State is to Oklahoma. We're like Kansas State to Kansas. We're never going to be Alabama. We just want to, beat them in anything we play them. But I think he used the phrase little brother at one point to him, or stepchild or something like that. And I was just cringing at his comments there. And I know that's been the perception forever and ever. But in basketball terms, we were talking earlier, that's really not the state of the situation right now.
No, I think it's more, and I don't know, Brown, sorry to interrupt. I think it's more, just when you look at pure percentages, you've got more population that is Alabama fan.
Historically, it has been true. Historically, it's really hard to argue against that.
Now, in Oklahoma.
Against what Jim said, not against what you said.
Yeah,
Historically,
no.
Obviously what you're saying is true.
Even right now, again, I said you don't have superiority from one of these programs in state in basketball right now.
Not currently.
But when you look at the history of the basketball programs, it's really not even close.
Yeah, now Bruce Pearl has done more to change that than every single coach Auburn has ever had combined.
No doubt this moment in time is what I was talking about. Historically, Alabama's the second winningest program in SEC history, and that. I just... When he was saying that last night, I was like, I as a guy who's been in this rivalry a long time, I never think of Auburn like I think of Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. And I never think of Auburn like I do Kansas State, Kansas.
Well, that's because you think of it in football terms.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, Oklahoma State is not even a rivalry.
Yeah, I think pre-Pat Dye, you would have thought that. Again, things have changed a lot, especially really on both fronts. But Nick Saban, kind of much like Bruce Pearl, changed the game of basketball. Nick Saban definitely flipped everything at football.
I don't even view Oklahoma and Oklahoma State as rivals.
Right. That's a good point.
Oklahoma's rival is Texas, and they play Oklahoma State every year. That doesn't make you rivals. Alabama played Mississippi State every year. Did not make them rivals.
I've always put Auburn and Alabama, the rivalry in my head's always been like Texas A&M.
Yeah, but
USC, UCLA.
Yeah, the State University is 95% of the time going to get the lean.
Almost always. If you look at any in-state rivalry, the State University has almost always been the upper hand team. Almost. Now, there are going to be exceptions, but almost all. I would imagine Clemson probably has the lead all time over South Carolina, wouldn't you think?
Oh,
I can look it up. But
South Carolina's got, 4 double-digit win seasons in their history?
That's the first one that would come to mind where I would say, the land-grant school might have the edge over the state school.
Look, one of these guys, Bruce Pearl or Nate Oates, could ultimately win a national championship at their current programs. But if they don't, I don't know if this debate's ever going to be settled, like who the alpha is with both of these guys, the moment in time we've got right now.
Yeah.
It just seems like they're both too good for one to get separation.
6-4 right now. Nate leads the head-to-head, but, that's fairly close. And maybe another meeting up in Nashville at the SEC tournament. And who knows, maybe in the NCAA tournament before it's all said and done. Show being brought to you by friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew there taking care of you for lunch and dinner today. Go by and see Sterling. He's there brining that chicken overnight. Cooked to order, comes out piping hot. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more. It is champy'schicken.com. And our friends at Hemp Hill Services. I don't even know if we had a winter. I don't know if it's ever going to get cold again, but summer's coming eventually. You want to make sure that cooling system is ready to go with a checkup from our friends at Hemp Hill.
Yeah, our friends at Hemp Hill, they can handle it since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train. Tell them the next round sent you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
On the field or in the office, you need a solid team and a strong game plan if you want to beat the competition. Xerox Business Solutions Southeast offers everything from printers to managed IT services, as well as hybrid work hardware solutions through our titanium partnership with Dell. For championship-level office solutions, get Xerox Business Solutions Southeast into your starting lineup. Visit xbssoutheast.com/win. Touchdown!
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Bring it up.
Lunsford, you've got to help because it happened to Brown yesterday and to me again yesterday. I mean, it's almost a daily basis now. I've got people asking me, if I can really invest in crypto for them. And they're not joking. I laugh at first thinking they realize that account that I deleted years ago has been hacked. But then they seriously asked me questions. And I even used your name yesterday at the event at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I said, I work with a guy named Lunsford who would be rolling over laughing right now, you asking me if I'm really good at investing crypto, Bitcoin, and if I could help you out in it. He would laugh at the fact that I couldn't tell you even how to buy one slither of Bitcoin.
Let me ask you this. Have you thought about learning cryptos so you can actually just help people?
That's true. Yeah. What if this is God's way of telling you?
I mean, how much advertising do I already have out there?
I know.
Yeah, here's part of your brain you haven't unlocked yet that you just have to unlock.
Yeah.
And then
Does anybody understand crypto?
Well, what I need to do is find somebody who is good at trading crypto and just let them already just use my name. Already, I've got a marketing team out there.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Again, is anybody actually good at trading crypto?
There are a lot of people good at trading crypto.
Says he is.
Yeah,
I am.
No, there are a lot of people good at trading crypto, just like stocks. I mean, it's same principle as the stock market. You can go into the stock market blind and lose your shirt, or you can study it and follow trends and make good money. And people do that with crypto. I was asked at the golf course yesterday. Somebody I hadn't seen in a long time.
And it was serious.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. What's Dunaway doing with this crypto thing? I just started laughing. I said, you cannot believe that Dunaway is actually doing this.
It's the worst Photoshops in the world.
I know.
To have a plaque with, thanks to
I just
Jim.
love like an old lady in a restaurant saying, thanks, Jim Dunaway, for making me $900,000.
I know.
Like, why are you in a restaurant saying, thanks, Jim Dunaway?
And I said, one of them is, a lot of them are people saying Dunaway made him like $900,000. I said, do you honestly think if Dunaway could make somebody $900,000, he wouldn't be making himself $900,000?
Or at some point, first of all, I'd be bragging about it a lot more than on Facebook. I'd be walking around with crypto shirts on.
This whole couple's at church.
Yeah.
I know. Thank God for Jim Dunaway.
Thank you, Jim Dunaway. I mean, look how bad of a Photoshop this stuff is.
I know.
They are horrible Look, at a football stadium. I love Bitcoin.
Did you see this on Brown took to a football game one time? I mean, it's possible.
True.
I don't even see what the point is, though.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to get people to say, "Oh, Jim, I would love to make $900,000," and then the hacker says, "Okay, well, just
buy a house in the mortgage."
Look,
that's in our studio. Go back.
Those two guys look like they were standing in our studio.
They really do.
Yeah,
it's sad.
I mean, it's insane. That's on a chalkboard. Her first day of school, they've taken her first day of first grade out and replaced it with Jim made $700,000 crypto for my dad.
For my daddy.
Hey, Rocky,
that lady's jazzercising. That lady's in a restaurant.
Go back to two with the dude and his kid. Was that like, we were talking about Ole Mills last night. We had this guy that came in at trivia. How many pictures did he take of the three of us just sitting at the stage?
No more than 206.
So a guy was taking photos of you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Like with a professional camera?
Oh, yeah. Had the long lens.
Yeah.
But just...
Who was he working with?
And so, I don't know. Well, we were talking about Olin Mills. Like, there's no way Olin Mills still exists, right?
I don't think so, Lance. Did you ever have to do the Olin
Mills?
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about have to. I was honored. I loved it.
It had the gold embossing Olin Mills. And
and that was like a status symbol, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to go to Sears to get your family portraits?
Did you ever
go to Olin Mills?
Did anybody ever date a girl that went to Glamour Shots?
Yeah. I think Bethany did glamour shots.
Jennifer did 100%. My wife did glamour shots. Yeah.
I think I did.
Because it was an opportunity to tease your hair up.
Oh, heck
without it being prom.
Dip your face in paint.
Or to look a little bit more.
Say it, Jim. Just say it.
Aggressive than you normally do.
You look like you drive to the basket.
You're 14. You look all of 16 in this picture.
This is the kid picture here, LT. Me and my boys representing in LaGrange.
Well, no.
That's a real picture.
That's a real picture, yeah.
I thought it was more crypto.
Yeah, but he does have crypto chronic or something in his...
Oh.
He's got a little Tom Brady look to him.
Oh, so I need to team up with this guy who's a next round viewer and listener and really help people with crypto.
Yeah, this guy appears to be legit. I can't tell you.
I mean, look, he's at home with the kids right now eating a late breakfast.
That's
right. He's making a living.
Crypto Cronny, check me out. Hit me up. Maybe we can make some money.
You know that one guy in the media that's like, let's collab.
Yeah, let's collab.
Well, I mean, look, if we were below
and me, man,
board,
we're gonna collab.
If we were below board, could we not do a symposium and we host it at like a local venue, and we promote it nonstop. If you want to make this money, we show that slideshow, and then we sucker people $50 admission.
Keyword sucker.
I think you're right. I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
You can find somebody that really knows what they're doing. You can say, I've got
the audience.
I've got advertising already set.
Nick says, that's your hacker right there, Jim. The guy who listens to the show.
You would be terrified, though.
There's a good chance the hacker is somewhere over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
If you started losing money, though, if this guy collaborated with you and he was giving out bad information on crypto,
I'd fold like a cheap suit.
If somebody sent you a direct message, I lost my house. They foreclosed our mortgage.
Can't do it. I don't even like it when the lock loses a game. I can't even. It's just part of it. It's going to lose occasionally, but I can't. I get all bent out of shape with that. All right. Show being brought to you. A couple of great sponsors before we get to trash. Champy's Chicken. I told you about Champy's Sterling. Great lunch, great dinner. Take it home for the big game on Sunday. But also Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Ask her about the pre-inflation pricing. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. If you wear the contacts or the glasses, you're wasting money each and every year. I'm speaking from experience. I now have 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the call that I made. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Lunsford says there's definitely a 0% chance the hacker is in the back room. That's what you would say if you hacked me.
That's right. That's how you throw him off the scent.
I still don't trust Tyler. He's new to the family. Let's hit the big button. Ready? Trash time.
At the belt. And now the 3-2 swung on. A pop foul. Out. Back here.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right.
Obviously.
Mortgages done the right way.
Are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available and guide you through every step of the process. As a veteran-owned, operated company, they understand the difference between working with someone who gets it and someone who doesn't. They've made it their mission to simplify the VA loan process. Visit their locations, Highway 280, right here in Birmingham. You can apply online at mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Police in South Carolina tracked down a man who wore a ski mask and a camouflage vest with his name on it to kidnap his on-again, off-again girlfriend.
Smart.
Now, the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office responded to a domestic-related call around 5 a.m. on Saturday. While en route, the caller said the victim had been taken against her will by 42-year-old Jonathan Perry.
What do you think the end game was here for Perry?
I think he was off again.
Yeah.
To be on again?
There's a good chance this would have worked faster if he'd have dropped authorities a pen real quick and just told them where he's holding it.
Here's where you find me.
If I said Matt Rule's got a cousin that's on the other side of the law a lot, could you see this guy?
Yeah, he does have a little Matt Rule in him. It's in the mouth. I think it's in the mouth.
Younger cousin.
Yeah. I've never watched that show Justified that you loved, Brown, for a while.
Lance loved it too. Lance is the one who put me on it.
Yeah,
Justified's fantastic.
It was a comfort show for me.
He looks like he would be a character.
100%. Yes.
Well, because he's got a little dirt on his face.
Yep. And I don't think I'd want to go up. I don't think I'd buy anything from his. What's those things? The storage units. What's that show that's on?
Storage Wars.
Storage Wars. I would not buy anything out of his storage unit unseen. That guy's not going to have a lot of treasures.
Deputies searched his vehicle in the woods behind a gas station that matched the description of the suspect vehicle, but did not find anything. Searches of the abandoned buildings in the area turned up negative. Detectives interviewed the caller who said earlier in the night around 2 a.m. Perry showed up at the home with a gun and demanded to know where the victim was. Perry allegedly hit the side of the home with an object, causing a window to shatter. He then crashed into the home with his car several times. He returned around 5 a.m., grabbed the victim who was outside, allegedly fled the scene with her. A short while later, deputies located the suspect's Grand Vitara. What is a Grand Vitara?
That's a record player, isn't it?
I think it's a car.
That's a car. I've just never even heard of it. Now, the car was found stuck in the mud. Deputies found Perry and the victim nearby in a cemetery. They also found a gun with no magazine in the area. Neither Perry nor the victim were injured. He has been arrested on multiple charges.
So are they back? Are they off?
I think they broke it up.
Kind of into the story.
I'm going to say it's a toxic relationship. Is that fair?
I would say yes. Maybe the very definition of one.
We were talking about Rex Ryan's white teeth earlier in the show.
Just unpacked.
gold-mounted false teeth worn by Sir Winston Churchill have been sold at auction for, you guys want to guess what these went for?
I'm going to say $78,000.
Did he try them on?
Did he leave that little gap on that side?
Well, I think he had that tooth.
Yeah, he had that tooth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's where he put his cigar.
Those
I don't even have to open my mouth. Watch.
are those incisors on the end that look like fingernails?
Those are clamps after they go to your gum, I think.
Boy, that does not look comfortable, does it?
It looks awful.
No, they went for $22,000. The upper dentures were worn by the wartime leader during many of his most famous speeches, including the "We Shall Fight on the Beaches" address.
Heck yeah.
Now,
We should fight on the beaches.
Cotswold Auction Company said the teeth were snapped up for more than double the $10,000 guide price.
Could you imagine going to somebody's house saying, let me show you the prize of my collection right here. These are Winston Churchill's upper dentures.
I mean, it would be.
You leave?
I wouldn't want them. It would be, I don't know if I'd believe it, but it'd be an interesting conversation
I think
piece.
I'd leave in a heartbeat.
Now, the false teeth, thought to be one of 3 of 4 identical sets, were made for Churchill when he was 65 at the beginning of World War II.
Bought it at the beginning of World War II before prices skyrocketed.
Ooh, nice throw.
If I went there, Brown, and he showed me that, I would be afraid that the next exhibit was going to be, this is his ring finger.
Yes. What do you have from President Roosevelt? Did you just collect body parts of World War II heroes?
I mean, if Martha Washington had a Merkel, would that be a problem?
No, she probably did.
Martha Washington.
Okay, what do you think the oldest American citizen is that we know of?
104.
The American citizen, that lady right there, she doesn't look a day over 108.
Is that Joni Mitchell?
Now,
that lipstick.
in a small Northern California town
the other night?
I did. She was fantastic.
Oh, God, Dunaway.
of Willits, the birthday of Edie Cesarelli, the oldest person in the U.S., has become a bit of a holiday. Well into her 100s, she would throw herself a huge birthday party at local event halls or at a senior center.
So she's got some money.
She would invite the whole town, but for the past few years, the town has taken over, organizing a parade in her honor on Sunday for Cesarelli's 116th birthday party.
Woo, that's a good shift.
Winter storm in the region had closed highways and felled trees, but the rain eased just in time. Outside local officials were waiting for her with a proclamation honoring a long life well lived. Local dog walker, along with about 15 dogs. I don't think she would take a Vizsla well, would she?
No, far too much energy for her.
You think it'd put her down and kill her?
Yes.
No, it would look more like your Vizslas would look more like a can after a wedding. It should be drugged behind the Vizsla there, drugged down the street.
Guy, it took you a minute to
So
get there.
vivid.
It really is. I could not figure out
Then
what
you
Joe
take
was
a
saying.
left, you got to take a right back to get to the left.
She
I'd
was
have painted a
born
picture.
February 5th of 1908. Just to put this in perspective, this was the same year Henry Ford introduced the Model T.
Wow.
Dang.
It's never going to last.
She
Of
has
course, it's
seen
going to be here forever.
She's seen every car ever made.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
now she sees a Tesla and she's like, finally perfection. Sorry.
I don't think living to one.
She saw Babe Ruth play.
Yeah, I don't think living to 116 would be good.
So 1908, 26. There's a chance she kissed Babe Ruth.
I mean, the chance exists. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Very
can we
unlikely.
get do we have another picture of her, or is this it?
That's pretty much all they provided. They have one from when she was in high school, I think. I have to dig for it.
She's got a souped up wheelchair, though. It's got a little,
It's got color.
little fuchsia.
Yeah.
She's got money, and I have a feeling the people who run this town are trying to get in line for the inheritance.
I wonder if every morning when you're 116, if you wake up, you just go,
Please let it be today.
woke up again.
That would about the older you get, it would be impossible to not have money. Like really, because all you would have to do, like if you had antiques, you could collect and sell all your life.
That's
like
true.
if you knew you were going to live to be 300 years old.
But Lance, if she retired at 70 thinking, I've only got to have enough money to last to 100,
Well, that's a problem.
She's got 16 years in the hole.
Yeah, she's going to need to start marrying.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that she should have in like 1930 something said, if I'm going to live to 116, if I put this away in a storage unit, I can, when I can bring this back to sell it in 1990 something, it's be worth something.
If she would have got some original Jordans in 85, you just buy 100 pairs of those.
You know what she's telling her family now? I've invested crypto with this nice young man in Birmingham. We're set for life, boys.
Yeah, he's going to make me so much money.
right.
Oh, it'll be Photoshopped pretty soon.
Somebody please Photoshop the sign in her hand.
Yeah, those hands will be gone. They'll be holding up a plaque.
So here are 5 guaranteed ways to make you hotter according to a scientist, not to scientists, but to a scientist.
So this is how a scientist says I could be hotter?
Yeah, wear red. They say the color, wear red. They say the color we wear should have a significant impact on how hot we appear to be others. Researchers have found that wearing the color red increases how physically attractive people find you. That's because while red is often thought to be a sign of danger and aggression, it also symbolizes passion, love, and desire. Have good looking.
I don't wear a lot of red.
I don't wear a lot of red either.
I got enough magnification. I got to
That's right.
take it away. No more.
Crimson's a shade of red, right?
It is, Jim. Very dark shade.
Have good-looking friends. Now, contrary to popular belief, it turns out that having attractive friends helps you elevate perceptions of our own physical attractiveness.
Congrats, Jim.
I was about to say, not checking this box up here.
Oh, wow.
Let people approach you. They say when it comes to hotness, it turns out you want to be the hunted. So next time you're attracted to someone across a crowded bar, let them actually do the work.
Because they will. They will come to you.
That's right.
If there's a 10 at the bar, she is going to approach you. Just wait. Wait it out.
I think this is where you use the phrase cooch again.
Well, if they approach you,
you want them to be the hunter.
Grab the cooch. They're grabbing the junk. Wait until closing time. They want to say it's true.
Time.
People do become more attractive at closing time. I would say that's because you're drinking more and more. But when they pop those lights, a little bit different.
Pop those lights. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I did not notice.
Thus,
I'm sorry you dropped your diamond off the Titanic.
go to a bar, let yourself be seen, and wait until closing time when there's not as much competition. Have you never been in a bar talking to somebody and they pop the lights and you're like, oh, my God.
I actually have not. There's a Seinfeld, again, another Seinfeld reference, good light, bad light. Like, you've seen this go from a what to a what?
No, so I would just give you an example. Like, there was a place called the Ivory Tusk in Tuscaloosa, and I forgot what it is now. We were there for Alabama LSU.
Okay.
But it was so dark in the bar. Really, the only lights were on stage, and then you would have a couple of bar lights where you go up and get your drink. But
you're hanging out with a silhouette, basically.
Basically,
pretty much. So it went from a what to a what? You thought it was a what?
You could take it from an 8 to a 5.
It's a big drop.
Big drop, yeah. You just dropped 3 points.
Yeah, Tyler's right, rounders.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's true. Like, if you've been to these really dark bars and you've been in that situation before, and I'm sure it flips around for women talking to guys, they're like, damn, I thought this was a tall, handsome
Your
guy.
fly's not even zipped.
Sorry, ma'am.
And
didn't
finally,
notice your voice being so deep.
I think this probably pertains more to women, but personality does matter. They go on to say human beings aren't as shallow as we think. In fact, your physical attractiveness can be manipulated by your personality. We've seen a lot of banged up dudes that are with good looking girls, and it's either they got money or personality or both.
Pete Davidson, he's got both.
Yeah,
I don't find him funny, but people do.
There was a study in which people were asked to rate the physical attractiveness of photographs of people. Half the photos had desirable personality traits attached, such as honesty, intelligence, humor, and kindness. The other half were associated with negative traits, including offensiveness, cruelty, and rudeness, and abusive. Thankfully, people found the photos with the desirable traits as being more attractive. I would think so. Some of this stuff is common sense, right?
Hey, when we come back, can I read an embarrassing text I just got?
Yes.
Not surprising, but embarrassing.
Yeah, that's when we come back. Brownie reads text, a new segment on the show. By the way, yesterday.
Brought to you by?
I got reminded, we used to do, when we were trying to stay alive on AM 690. By the way, that was trash brought to you by Mortgage Rate.
Yeah. Stop by that location right there on Homewood. Buying a home, major milestone in life. Get it right. Comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with the friends at Mortgage Right, 205-815-9200 or mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
It was hard to stay alive because Lance wouldn't sell our show.
I know.
Oh, wait a minute. That's what
I'm sorry.
My apologies. Had the wrong one.
AM 690, Brown and I, we used to fill time. We came up with crazy games because we had to give stuff away, all the time.
Yeah.
Great sales staff.
Monster truck and stuff like that.
Tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
So we'd play games. We just didn't want to be caller number whatever. So we'd play games, and a guy walked up and says, I've been listening to you a long time. Always enjoyed it. Listen to your show now. I had enough cards. I was handing them out if people, asked where we were or anything. But luckily, we just have a lot of people who were listening to us. And he was like, I'll tell you how far I go back. I won tickets one time down to see wrestling at the BJCC off of your show. You played a game called 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad.
Oh, I remember that. We played the Meatloaf song before it, too.
Yeah,
Of course we did. There was an open rock star, and it was Meatloaf.
I have to be. Yes. For wrestling tickets.
And he says, and I said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. How'd that game go again? He goes, you guys would have 3 questions lined up for each caller. And if they got 2 out of the 3 correct,
that's right. They
went into the drawing for the questions.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That was, I kid 100% tell you what happened there. Dunaway heard 2 out of 3 ain't bad on the radio on his way to work.
This would be a great segment.
Yeah, we could make a game out of this. I've got the open. We just need the game.
And I would show up, and Brown would be like, hey, we got to give away a pair of wrestling tickets tonight. They want us to take caller number 5, but why don't we have fun with it? And I'd be like, okay, I got a game. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Rockstar, can you make it open?
Can we make it open?
Tell me something good.
All right. When we come back, Brown reads text. Not a new segment on the show. All brought to you by our friends at Champies. This is the next round.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter @RockstarBHM.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons. Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner, and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment, and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the next round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from the next round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com. Hey, Ryan Brown here from the next round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store. For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified fit specialist will use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trussville.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Play all of the plays you want with our friends at mybookie.ag and get great advice from LT, lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com. Not a perfect night last night, but it's been a good week so far for you guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were 5-3 on Tuesday. We were 1-2 last night. We did have Providence, your free lock. And Providence came to play last night against Creighton. It went to overtime, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Here we go again, because we were catching 2.5, and it seems like every time we go in with a slight dog to overtime, we end up losing that game and not getting the cover. We got that last night. We were 1-2. We bounced back. We got 6 plays, 1 in the NBA, 5 in college basketball. We'll give you more on that. Me and Brown will be sending out a video in a little bit. But looking for a big night at lanceslock.com.
Dallas and the Knicks tonight in New York. Denver and the Lakers late night there. Tigers going to play in the 2024 Genesis Invitational. Is that the one in Los Angeles?
Yeah, Riviera. That's his tournament.
And that's the one where he had the accident coming down that altered his career.
And the reason he was there is that is his signature event. That's his tournament. He's got one. Jack Nicklaus has one, and Arnold Palmer has one. And they're part of they're 3 of the 6 signature events.
If you are a member of Yay Alabama, the NIL entity at Alabama, you saw Aaron Suttles and I interview Ryan Williams yesterday on that show. You can go sign up at Yay Alabama and become a member, see that interview. But National Signing Day yesterday, one note on that. We told you Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Miami, Ohio State was 1 through 5. Auburn was 10. The folks at The Athletic, Grace Rayner says the most surprising to her was Auburn at 10, that only Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, and Oregon have a better player rating. So when it comes to player ratings, talent-wise of the ones that were brought in, 6th is where Auburn actually finishes up. They just don't have the same numbers as the ones that were 7, 8, and 9 in those composites. So a little more of a bump if you just look at the quality of players that Auburn had, not the overall roster numbers. So a little bump there early for that Hugh Freeze class.
Can I go back to Tiger Woods real quick?
Yes.
Do you know one reason it's important for him to come back now and play is because he is no longer involved with Nike, and he's launching a new brand that is in conjunction with the TaylorMade, I believe. It's called Sunday Red is the name of the brand.
Sunday Red.
Yeah, I don't think it's all going to be red, but I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name of the brand, Sunday Red. And that's why it's important for him to get back out and play a little bit, because this is his brand.
So
and
he'll be in that gear at the Genesis.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the deal with Nike is 100% over. I think that's where they're going to launch it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Makes sense there. All right.
Good to see him out there either way, though.
Before Brown reads an embarrassing text, let's go to the back room. Forrester, what are you giving me first here? This is this Gary that did this?
That's the old lady?
Yeah, this is from Gary Lloyd.
And Gary Lloyd sends this in. Jim Dunaway made me millions on crypto. I mean, you get that all over that old. I mean, that Facebook. I deleted it, guys. I don't even know. And Facebook is not helping me get rid of it. I have sent them messages saying, "Hey, this is not me,
Mr. Zuckerberg, please.
This is not me." And they're like, we've checked it out. No flags.
This will become my favorite new thing on the show. If people start sending us historic photos with historical figures holding these signs, what
is it sacrilegious if Moses has got the tablets?
Maybe a little.
Somebody will send it in.
Yes. I don't want to speak for Scott, but if you guys will send those, we'll show as many as we possibly can, if they're good. Not the bad ones. It's got to be a good Photoshop. I hate a bad Photoshop.
Flaming blimp back in the 30s with some guy down low holding a sign saying,
"Oh, the savings! Oh, the savings!"
saying,
"Please
you
send me
use
all
Jim
of
for
those."
your cryptos."
Yes. Sunday, you've got Brock Purdy holding up the Lombardi, and instead it's a crypto sign.
Now, y'all don't half-ass these. I want good Photoshops, okay? But all the good ones you said we'll show.
Drew Barrymore lifting a shirt to David Letterman. Jim Dunaway helped me buy these thanks to crypto.
Hey, I got one more Photoshop.
Okay, one more.
Oh, I like these, Scott.
Yep.
Oh, Jimmy Crypto. Is that our new T-shirt?
I'm okay with Jimmy Crypto. We got to use a different picture. We need a bald Jim picture.
Oh, that's your issue with the photo?
Yeah. Well, no, I like the enhanced tongue. Very Gene Simmons-esque.
Making you rich, changing your life.
Yeah. But I do like the design there.
That's not your actual tongue?
It is not. Tell us about Woodhouse, and we'll get to this text. Valentine's Day coming up.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. What are we, 6 days out from Valentine's? You don't have to put a lot of thought into this. If you're looking for that significant other gift, very simple. Our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa, you can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order that special person gift online 24/7 at birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's birmingham.woodhousespas.com. They'll mail it to you. You got nothing. You don't have to do anything. If you want, you can drop by and you can check it out for yourself. Make sure you tell Stuart and the fine folks that the next round sent you. They're conveniently located right there at the Summit Shopping Centers.
So we have a lot of guests that are kind enough to come on the show, right? And I always try to expand that roster. Some hit, some don't, okay? But when I see somebody and I'm like, I like what they're saying, or they look like they handle themselves well, I'm like, let's see if they'll come on the show. So last night I'm watching Auburn beat Alabama, and at halftime, Dalen Cuff is really good. And I'm like, I'd like to get him on the show. So I fire him a DM, buddy. He right back just like that, right? Says, I'll be happy to do it. You want to win huge bonus points. He agrees to do Zoom. Like when we can get a first-time guest, it's like, yeah, absolutely, I'll Zoom with you. That's even better for us, right? Because we want them all Zoom videos. Some can't do it or don't want to do it. And he agrees to do that. So I'm like, this is a win-win right there. And I thought it was a really good segment. I thought he did a tremendous job. I really enjoyed having him on. So much so that I always try to fire a text back and say, hey, I really appreciate you coming on, which I did. What are you laughing at?
I just can imagine how this could go wrong.
He responds, no problem. I'm like, hey, really appreciate the time today. No problem. If we run it back sometimes, my name is pronounced like Alan, not Dalen. I said his name wrong the entire interview. It's Dalen Cuff. Alan with a D, Dalen Cuff, not Dalen.
That's not uncomfortable.
No, it's not embarrassing at all. How should I respond?
Hey, we've had some audio problems all day.
No, I was saying Dalen. You heard Dalen?
Tell him
That's my southern accent.
Tell him you were up all night because we had a Jimmy Crypto launch party last night.
Dalen Cuff was terrific, and we appreciate Dalen Cuff coming
Dalen
on.
was great.
Did you guys like Dalen?
Yeah, I loved him.
Let's have Dalen again.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell me he listened after he got off and wasn't going to come back on because we were asking about the Tinder book that was on his shelf behind him.
No, hey, Trey, he was in those DMs last night when Brown hit for a reason.
By the way, I Googled Tinder book, and a lot of stuff comes up, and it was not that book.
Yeah.
It's a weird
You
Google.
were trying to finish the other letters.
Well, I was just seeing if I could see the spine of the book in a Google image search.
Yeah.
Dalen Cuff on the show today. Very good.
Yeah, he was good earlier. Appreciate him being with us. Auburn wins last night, 99-81. We'll set the table for Auburn at Florida, Alabama at LSU as the season continues on. But don't forget tonight down at Bartow Arena, number 20 Florida Atlantic at UAB. The Owls have never won at Bartow Arena ever. By the way, AK is 57-9 in Bartow Arena. So another big opportunity, national TV tonight on ESPN2, 8 o'clock for that game this evening for UAB. We'll give you the aftermath of that. Brown, save the Live PGA. That's good. Save that for tomorrow.
I'll have it tomorrow, Jim.
Yeah, that'll be good. And by the way, Netflix announced a in-season, all-season long documentary with the Boston Red Sox yesterday. It is supposed to be from creators who are really good at this. I saw a lot of people that were excited about that as we get more of those behind-the-scenes sports documentaries on all the streaming services. That's our show today. Super Bowl weekend officially kicks off tomorrow on the show. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.